See the magic happens.
It's
Oh,
live.
oh, we live, baby. We live,
Yeah.
baby. We are live, baby. Okay, everybody, welcome to the show. Thank you for tapping back in with Troy. We got some special guests tonight. We have Dr. Zaba, the author of Dr. Zaba. You want to tell us about your book that you got
Yeah.
out?
The name of the book is What I Wish I Would Have Known Before Moving to the Dominican Republic, and an insider's account of life in the Dominican Republic. I was going to name it What I Wish I Would Have Known Before Moving to the Dominican Republic and Why I Left. But I left that out. But I think I put it on the prologue of the introduction. I kept my book Fish and Grits, which means I
Okay.
wrote it as raw and as authentic because I really believe people don't get that type of serving. I think so I try to keep it as authentic and raw as possible without
Okay.
using curse words.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. Um, well, myself, I'm still here in the Dominican Republic. I moved down here permanently 2 years ago, but I've owned a home here for about 3 years now,
Right.
and I love it. I met um, Rico through Coach Jardine. I happened to run. I was in the. I live in Bavaro, by the way, and I happened to run into Coach at a random food spot, and I recognized him from his channel. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" Started talking, and then Rico came, and we found out that Rico lived out here, and we all became cool, and the rest is history. But we live on the side of the island. A lot of brothers don't like to come out here,
Right.
because it's some people say it's real touristy, but I chose this side of the island because I wasn't just thinking about myself. I wanted to, my daughter to come down, my mom to come down, my family members, and I know everybody tends to vacation to Punta Cana, so I was like, all right, I know if I'm in Bávaro, I can catch some familiar faces when they come down here to vacation, and so that's why I chose this side of the island. But I love it. I don't have any complaints. Um, Rico would tell you, I used to be the first person to be like, man, I don't really like Puerto Plata. I don't really like Sicily. But that was my introduction to the island, coming down here for a bachelor party. But I've slowly changed my mind because I like the camaraderie of the brothers that are up there, because I've met some older brothers that have kind of like mentored me into transitioning out here. And
My coffee.
yeah, okay. I like the it's the coffee. I like the camaraderie up there. I like, because here it's like I gotta wait till Rico comes back. I got another partner. He's from Philly, but he's back and forth a lot. But I gotta kind of wait for Rico to come back before I'm actually interacting with a brother from the States. And I pretty much keep to myself. I don't really venture out, and I don't really party too much. I'm really just hanging here in the house. But I gotta wait till he comes back, and then Coach might come out and visit me. But when you're up in Puerto Plata, man, I tell people you may hear a lot of crazy things going on up there, but what I like about up there is that you can get some solid older brothers giving you a wealth of information. I mean, I'm talking when I've gotten some information on stocks, I got information on investing, and it's like it's back in the States you don't really get that because we got a lot of testosterone, right? But up there, you know why there's not a lot of testosterone running around up there, because it's a lot of women. So brothers are like greeting you, and I like that about Puerto Plata. And I'll be the first to tell you that I didn't like it at first, but I do like that about it. But what part of the island, Dr. Zaba, were you in when you were here?
All right. I've been there.
Come on,
It
Doc.
was it was 14
Doc,
years I've been in that island.
can I
And
ask
so
Doc?
yeah.
Because I want, and because I know, like, Troy, I don't want to. I just want to tap this on with your question. Not only like what part of the island you're on, but also, can you also, in telling your story, tell us what brought you to the DR in the first place?
Excellent question.
Thank you.
What brought me to the Dominican Republic was I was working in Panama at the time, and I was working on the ship. I was doing networking with Ocean Networks, and we were, working on the ship systems, the ship's network. We were running Cat5. We were doing all of the computer systems on ships, navigation. And so we were doing all of that stuff. And so I was basically, working on the ship, monitoring the ship. And at a point, I got to a point where I was doing remote work, and I was still working on the ships, which I still do from time to time. So I was working in Panama, and then a guy asked me, "Hey man, you want to go to work in Haiti?" And I was like, "Yeah, I tried." And so I got to Haiti for a little while, and I was working at the port in Haiti on the computer systems, not only on the ships, but on the base. And then he was like, "Oh man, just let me get you to the DR. This is a wealthy guy I've been working for." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." That's what brought me to Republica Dominicana. And I started off in Puerto Plata, and I stayed in Puerto Plata for about 5.5 years. I went and worked in Santo Domingo for about 1.5 years, and then I worked, and then I started living in Santiago for 5.5 years. So in total, it's, if about 14 years I've been there.
Okay. So you started in Santo Domingo, actually?
I started off in Santo Domingo. I started off in Puerto Plata, then went to Santo Domingo, then went to Santiago, Okay. And when I was in Santiago, I kind of slowed down on the work and was doing a lot of remote work. But I was still working with the ships, as I still do now. I still have a good ongoing relationship with the guy who I've always been working with. Okay.
Cool, man. So what was your first experience like when you touched down in Puerto Plata? What did you think?
I swear to God, man, I love Puerto Plata. And I can say, I'll always say this, and in the introduction to my book, I always say, I could talk about so many positive, wonderful things about the country. I really could, and I could go in and on and on and on forever about the positives of living in the Dominican Republic. Right. I mean, there's no lack of conversation from me if I would just say, let's just talk about all the positives of the Dominican Republic. That would be an easy conversation for me. And I think the first thing that I liked about Puerto Plata was the Malecón. And I used to run that Malecón every day. I used to run. And I see a lot of the guys at the Caseta sitting. And so that's what I really liked about Puerto Plata. Now, I'll agree with you. It was very cool to start meeting brothers who were mature, because, after you graduate college, man, it's kind of hard to run into brothers with knowledge. And I mean, it really is in the United States. You know what I mean? I was telling Rico the other day, I was like, we might be able to have a discussion, but if you go up in the hood, the brothers might strangle you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not used to disagreement. You know what I'm saying? And you can do that with some brothers. There's some sharp brothers going to the Dominican Republic. As a matter of fact, I'm a big advocate of brothers don't have the money to travel. So the brothers who are traveling and the brothers who can afford to travel usually are up echelon, probably some education, and the list goes on. Right. It's really cool to run into some really good brothers.
Doc, what year would to help me?
Somebody's calling me.
Okay.
Go ahead, because I can't answer it now.
What year was it when you first came?
I think it was,
as to what it was like when you first did.
Was it? This is 2000 and was it 2012? About 14 years ago, give or take.
Oh, so you was here? They call it the golden age.
2009.
Yeah, about 2009, 2010.
Well, maybe 2010.
And I'll say this: you brothers don't realize how fantastic and different it was before all of you came.
That's why I asked.
Listen. I I've talked to some guys that was coming down for years when I first got down there, and they would always tell me the stories about how it was before everyone came. He said, "You young guys started coming down here."
Let me interject that while I can.
Right. One second. Let me shout out. I want to give a shout out to my brothers. I'm only going to do this one time. My little brother, my real blood brother, is in the chat, and I just want to tell him, "Hey, look, man, I love you, and thank you for coming and checking out my show." Because he's a busy guy and he doesn't get a chance to really do this a lot. So I just wanted to say that.
Man, I got to tell you, man. Anybody that love their brother, I can't take men who don't care for their brothers or their fathers. I mean, men start talking about their daddy. It's difficult for me. It's difficult for me. Their mama, difficult for me. So I'm gonna piggyback on what you're saying, man. I'm thankful to hear that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But let me say this. You know, I bought land in the Dominican Republic some years ago, and I put it in, I think, Russell's group. And I really didn't get much interest from a lot of the brothers. I sold that land, quite a bit of acres, to a Japanese man. And then I'm gonna say this, and I know, you know, I really want to talk about the book, and I really want to talk about how.
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into it.
I really want to talk about how important it is for brothers to come to the country and level up.
Oh yeah.
And how important it is for brothers to come to the country and create a family. How important it is for brothers to come to the country and build something. Let me tell you something, brother. And I know a lot of passport brothers do not like to talk about male responsibility. You talk about male responsibility, they attack you and they say the worst things they can about you. But I have to go in. You know, I'm drinking my Colombian coffee. And what I wanted to say in reference to how it was then, and you know, and I've always said this, you know, they want to talk about the women. I want to talk about how cheap land was. I want to talk about how cheap it was, storefronts was. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about, you know, I want to talk about, you know, do these guys realize, man, look, man, we can't, I gotta, I'm keeping the fish and grits for life now. Right. I gotta keep the fish grits.
Zaba, just before you go in, I know you're gonna go into your book. After your book, could you after when you've done your book, could you circle back to the land, because you made a point there that I would like to discuss. But after when you've circled around your book, please come back to that land aspect, please.
Right.
I will, man. They want to talk about how cheap women was. Talk about how cheap land was.
Listen.
Okay.
I got my land during COVID. During COVID is when I struck, because I knew the prices were down. They didn't know where their next dollar was coming from, and I came up big.
And yeah, I mean, opportunity is wherever your mind is, you know? Right. I mean, like, when is the last time you seen, and this is looks like an Asian man running around on the internet talking about women. I mean, you might have seen 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. I'll give you 10. Right. But if you go to any computer and you put in Dominican Republic and you look at what Indian men are talking about and you look at what brothers are talking about, their mind is not on business.
Right.
You know, and it's unfortunate because it's kind of like churches in America, right? We got tons of them, but very few people are religious. And you got tons of people talking about relationships. And I'm willing to say this, and I'll take the flak for it. I know people are not going to like this. Black men do not have a high success rate with relationships 10 to 15 years or more. We just don't.
Right.
And then all we want to talk about is, I mean, we know people. Don't get me wrong. I know quite a bit of people. I have to say this because I'm on this hill right now. The brothers, most brothers who are coming to the Dominican Republic, they don't talk about, my grandkid just went downstairs. I just showed y'all my grandkid. They don't talk about their grandkids. They don't talk about hanging out with their pops. They don't
Right.
talk about taking their grandmama somewhere on a cruise somewhere. A lot of passport men are not family oriented, brother. Now they might love their mama, but when you listen to them, will they talk about their father? Will they talk about their grandchildren? Do they take their mama anywhere? Do they take their children anywhere? And this is the part that's tough because it's tough to be criticized.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough for people because we don't want to look in that mirror. And I don't know, and I don't have any data, and I haven't put any data in my book about how much money comes in the Dominican Republic with African American men. I don't have any data.
Wow.
So I'm not gonna, but I'm just gonna say
Millions.
I'm just gonna say your old Republican, the guy George Bush is fuzzy math to me. All right, I'm gonna tell you right now. And as much money that comes into that country, because Chinese people, they coming in, they got stores right there where black men are at. The Chinese people ain't coming in there BSing, bro.
No.
Last time you seen 30 Japanese men, okay, in that country, running behind, So, all right, I just wanted to, that's what my spirit is. I love people who are talking about business and leveling up.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to get this from a lot of groups, and it ain't really our culture. We haven't. I'm not saying like when I mean it isn't our culture. I mean in African American culture, we don't have a culture built on like Mexicans do, or they come and they building something, bro. They come and taking over. They gonna come do your house before the brothers on the corner do it. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. It's not a social, historical, economic, standpoint in which we're coming into certain things.
Well, Doc, let me chime in real quick. When I came down to like me, I'm prior military. So when you're up there in Sosúa and Puerto Plata, you're going to see a lot of prior military. You're going to see a lot of fraternity brothers coming on 8 trips, and you're going to see you see policemen, firemen. So I was talking to some of the older brothers, and one of the first things that I talked about, because let me give you a little bit of my background. My ex-wife was from Honduras, so I could read Spanish and I could speak Spanish. I'm not an expert, but I had started seeing say vende on a lot of the houses. And I've always been interested in I was a homeowner in the States. So I've always been interested in real estate, and I've been interested in real estate abroad because my ex-wife was from Honduras and we visited her country when we first got married. And I saw how they were taking the money from America and sending it back there and building up. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. So when I went to Puerto Plata for the bachelor party, I told everybody, and I hope a couple of them are watching the show now. They're probably not, but I told a couple. I sent the link to them, and I was like, it was 8 of us. And I said, listen, fellas, because it was women running around here, but being as though my wife was from Honduras, I wasn't like, oh my God, look at these Spanish women, because I was been married to them before, so I wasn't that excited. And I'm always thinking business and trying to get to some bread. So I was like, fellas, I just called this number. They want this much money for this villa. I said, if we all go in $10,000 a piece, $15,000 a piece, we can get it. And it went from 8. Everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. It went from 8 people to 6 people to 4 people to 2 people. And that was me. I was the best man, and my man was getting married, and he was like, yo, I can't tell my wife we about to buy a house in the DR. I just got married. I said, I understand. I told everybody in the group, I said, you know what? It's gonna take me longer, but I'm gonna get to it, because I understood. I said, look at all these brothers coming down here. I'm like, this is gonna be money forever. I'm like, you're gonna be able to rent this out. You're gonna be able to come down here. It's beautiful. So I was like, so it took me some time. This was 2018. Then COVID hit. So I was like, okay, COVID hit, the world stopping, prices was dropping, the realtors and builders didn't know where the next dollar was coming from. So I was like, all right, I know me personally, I can't live up there. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm not disciplined enough. That can't be my life every day. So I was like, let me get as far away from there. I want to be on the island, but let me get as far away from there as possible. So I said, okay, Punta Cana. So I looked at Punta Cana. I saw how everybody's like, I don't like Punta Cana. I was like, that's okay. Everybody don't like it. I like it. I love it. So that's why I got out to Punta Cana. And I also did my research, and I said, okay, Punta Cana is the #1 most visited place in the Caribbean. So I was like, where am I going to get the best ROI at? The best return on investment is going to be in Punta Cana. So I was like, okay, I'm sold. So I started making phone calls. I got my realtor. I came down here, and I'm like, all right, I understand supply and demand. I also understand the world is stopping right now. Everybody's scared. So I had some money saved up from 2018. I came down here and gave my price on my villa. And now my villa, I didn't put a pool out back. I didn't put an apartment up front. And now I'm about another year, I'm gonna put this large price tag on here, and I'm about to triple up my money. And then I'm gonna go buy some land and do it all over again. But I was telling people, but I got that bug up there from an older guy that had been coming down here for years. You know what he told me? He said, man, the young blood, I've been coming down here for about 15 years, man. And what I should have did was should have bought some land. Whenever an older person tells you what they should have did, that's what you should do. So I took that information and ran with it. And I tried to tell everybody else,
but you know what the
go ahead, Rico. We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Okay.
sorry. Just to add, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
What's crazy, and I think I heard you say it, Dr. Zava, too, is the percentage of brothers who own anything is definitely in single digits, probably between 1% to 2% of Black men who come to the DR that owns anything, a condo, an apartment, a villa, anything. They just don't. And then when you think about the number who come in and the amount that they spend and coming for 20 years, I'm like, how you been coming or even living in the DR for 15 and 20 years and don't own anything? I'm like, how have you been continuously living in this country for 15 years? I don't mean coming back and forth. I mean living there 15 years and own nothing. I'm like, that is insane.
Right.
Can I correct you there, Rico? Can I just correct you there?
I don't get why brothers do that.
Rico,
I just think that's really
Rico,
weird, and that's just throwing away bad money.
Jake, go ahead.
Go ahead, Big J.
Yeah, I just want to correct Rico on that. 10% own something.
Big J.
Yeah, 10%. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, Troy.
Oh, you can't hear me. Rico can't hear. Can you hear me now, Rico?
I hear you.
Can I remember?
I
Right,
hear you.
10%.
Can you hear Jay, Dr. Zah?
Yeah.
Did you
I
mute
can hear.
yourself, Troy?
No, I'm not muted.
Nah.
I can hear. I think it's you.
Can you hear me, Dr. Zaba?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear all of you guys.
I can't hear you guys. Let me go out and come back in. It might be me.
Okay. Come on back.
It might be me. I'm gonna go out and come back in, Troy.
Okay, go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say, I've got to correct Rico there. 10% own something, 40% are lying that they own something, and the other 50% don't own jack shoot. Right? So I just had to just
I wish Rico would have heard that. He would have been laughing too.
Hey,
but that's the truth. That's the truth.
I'm gonna tell you guys, Jay, people are not gonna like us. And people are not going to like you. People are not going to like me because people don't want to talk about responsibility in Black men. They just, especially passport bros, but go ahead.
No, they don't. They definitely don't. But yeah, I mean,
say it again. I want Rico to hear what you just said.
Yeah, I missed it.
Oh, can you hear me now, Rico?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I said I've got to correct you there, Rico. 10% do own something in DR. The other 40% are lying that they own something in DR, and the other 50% don't own shoot.
Okay.
Hey, listen. Before we go any further, fellas, hold on. I just want to say, I'm a fan of Passport Bros. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. They crack me up, man. I'll be watching the videos. Rico would tell you. What's the one brother's name? Rico. That's my guy. I know Rico like you. He a fool.
Razor Rays?
No, not Rays. My man that was wilding on Razor Rays. He was talking about, he talked about having sex with the homeless girl that one time.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Big
no.
Boss.
That's my man.
Oh.
Hey, look,
That's
they are entertaining, man. It's entertaining, man. Listen,
Troy,
I
that's the same guy that interviewed Dr. Zaba.
right.
I love that dude, man. Hey, yo,
I ain't gonna say
know-
nothing. I
Listen,
promised
Dr.
myself
Dr.
that
Zaba,
I have
don't
to
say
be.
Humor of them.
Don't
You
say
don't
nothing.
love that.
I just want to put it out there. I love Passport Bros. It's so entertaining, man. I be watching because this is some shit I wouldn't do. I wouldn't get on camera and say, but man, that should be entertaining, man. Like, man, Rays and all of them, and they be, and I don't know why everybody keep going to Colombia and getting scoped.
God.
What more do you need? What more do you need to know to stay away from Colombia
Yeah.
than watching Rays' show or watching DC Born Rob? They keep telling you weekly somebody that got scoped, somebody got scoping me, and brothers is still. I'm like, are they that fine? I've been to Colombia and I can't see it. I can't see dying over no cat.
There you go. That's what I'm
I
saying.
can't see it, but I'm a fan of Passport Bros. I don't want Passport Bros to be like. I like watching the shows and hearing the stories because it's some brave, wild. It's some wild.
But you know what the thing is, Troy, is like I said, like I'm, of course they label me as a Passport Bro hater, and I'm like, I don't hate Passport Bro.
I love them, man. They
But
funny.
what I don't like is I'm like, y'all just can't stand to be criticized for a lot of the fucked up shit y'all do out here raw dogging, with pros. I'm like, I mean, just all sort of, taking advantage of homeless people and just y'all are even. Not time I said I watch y'all stab each other in the back, trying to sleep with each other's girlfriends and shit. So the criticism is valid criticism that y'all earned, but yet you don't want anybody to say anything about it. Mm-hmm. And my only concern, my only knock on the Passport Bros is I really don't like the way they sell a narrative because I'm always thinking about what we were talking about, this young 23-year-old or 24-year-old black man that has never traveled before, and they watch this shit, and then they go to whether it's Colombia, Thailand, the DR, Brazil, and I'm afraid that some young man's going to get hurt listening to this really outrageous, ridiculous shit that they're saying. If they was giving out valid, like you said, you even got them sitting there talking about how safe it is in the DR, and Dr. Zaba gonna get into the numbers on that. How they misconstrue things. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying the place is hell, but y'all gotta stop selling it. Like I tell people, like, I never call it paradise. I don't believe it's paradise. That's bullshit. I don't believe anymore. And I believe Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, it's just a fucking island in the Caribbean, like all others. But this concept of paradise, and I think about, like, I know better, but I'm older. 23-year-old Rico would have believed all that dumb shit because I was 23, and that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about young, impressionable brothers taking this information, and I would have been up in Sosua. Somebody said it's safe to raw dog. My ass would have been trying to raw dog.
Nah, don't do that.
You see what I'm saying? That's a concern.
Don't do that.
That's a concern.
But before we get any further on a tangent, Dr. Zaba, we're gonna like Big J said, we're gonna circle back. But I want to get into this book, Dr. Zaba, that you got out.
Again, the book is entitled "What I Wish I Would Have Known Before Moving to the Dominican Republic." And like I said, I changed the title. It just says an insider's account of life in the Republic Dominicana. And I think what the most important part of why I wrote the book is because of what piggybacking on Mr. Rico, I really wanted to give people a grits and fish account. I didn't want to dress it up. I wanted to give people real numbers and tell people really what's going on. I mean, you got a lot of channels that they have subscribers, so they have to appeal to those subscribers. So they are less willing to be raw. They're less willing to say, I mean, the Dominican Republic, for instance, is so, it's one of those countries whereby, if you talk about the country, it's just like when I gave that analogy, you can't go in the hood and disagree with them brothers. They'll be ready to kill you. And that's a lack of education. That's simply a lack of education. And so you will find countries like that. Can't say nothing about the president. Can't say nothing. You can't critique the government. And the Dominican Republic is definitely like that. You're talking about a country, and let me say this as a precursor before I get into any numbers and any statistics. I remember telling my children Santa Claus wasn't real. And they got angry with me because they didn't know. They didn't know. So they became defensive. But these are children. But I find adults are like that also. Like if you told me, for instance, my mother wasn't my mother, for instance, right? Just for instance. But you say, look, I'm gonna take you somewhere, I'm gonna get y'all DNA done. I'm gonna show you. Now, if they gave me information that I can accept or information I can find out myself, I just simply have to change my mind. I just simply have to accept information when I can accept that it's true. Right. Now, this is the point. I have been saying forever to people, and any show that I've been on, my phone fell, so I'm holding it in my hand. Just don't believe me. You know, we're adults. We have Google at our fingertips. We can look information up. And I know some information can be conflated, but there's information that is simply not. And so whatever I say tonight, look it up. Don't believe me. And what people will do is they'll do just like them dudes in the hood. Instead of them going to look the information up, they'll attack me.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what, Dr. Zab, me and Rico talked about this. A lot of people have ties to the country. They got I know, like you, other people, they're married to Dominicans. They have Dominican children, half the children. So I always take that into account when I'm getting somebody's opinion, because when you start talking about the island, you got to think, okay, now you're talking about some of these people's children. So they get a little defensive, and I just take it with a grain of salt. But as long as you can respect my perspective and respect my opinion, I'm going to always respect everybody else's perspective and everybody else's opinion, because I feel as though I'm at that point in my life where I don't have to have any beef, and I can overstand the situation. So, yeah.
But I also think we don't even talk like that when it comes to America. We expect America to be criticized. We can talk about the president. We could talk about the vice president. We could talk about anybody, and we don't say, oh, we're worried about people getting offended or they can. No, be educated and go look. The country can be critiqued. Let me go look up the information. If I told you that the Dominican Republic, for instance, has made the Guinness Book of Record a couple of times of having the most accidents in the world, don't say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm offended. Go look it up. You know, that's all. It's that simple. And the information that I will give is information that anybody can look up.
Right.
So it ain't it's not like, you know, it's that lack of education when Dominicans get offended. It really is. If you know anything about the Dominican Republic, for instance, a Dominican hit me in the back in a car. He hit me in the back. He ran in the back of me, and he said, "You didn't see my blinker." That's what he said to me. So the lack of responsibility, the lack of anybody that won't go, I'll look at the information. It's just they're not worth talking to. They're not worth. If I say Dominican Republic as a country is more dangerous in murders per 100,000 than the United States, instead of saying, well, I don't feel like that, instead of saying, I don't see that, say, show me your data, Dr. Zab, show me your data, or look it up yourself. If you type into any system and you put in homicides per 100,000, United States hasn't beat out the Dominican Republic. Nothing I've seen in the last 10 years. Now I'll say that statistic, and you'll get somebody that's living in Puerto Plata, or and they'll go on, and they'll be like, and I'll beg them, I'll beg them and say, let's look the data up. And they just simply won't. They'll just deny.
And Dr. Zaba, like you said, what's great about that is because it's like everybody killed me. What about Chicago? I'm like, I swear to God, I think all of America is Chicago.
Well,
motherfuckers that couldn't even find Chicago on a map will say, what about Chicago?
Well,
and the problem I always tell them is, I said, here's the thing about the U.S. is we are great at reporting on crime. We report on crime ad nauseum. Our news reports on crime nonstop.
Big
on
business.
TV. And what I realized is in the DR, and it's not even just a DR conversation, all throughout Latin America, and we see it even in communist countries. They control their media. So you don't get oversaturated with reports, even though high levels of crime will be occurring in places that we know nothing
But this is the
about.
thing. We can only debate the data that is reported, whether they report a little bit or not. I'm only talking about data that's reported and data that can be verified. And the conversation when people say, what about Chicago? I say that's one city. I just said a country. You know what like Mr. T, what you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Or that guy say, what you talking about, fool, or whatever. You can't compare. I mean, you can. I mean, you want to compare a country to a country, let's compare a country to a country. If you want to compare a city to a city, let's compare a city to a city. Because I can tell you right now, there's over 40,000 cities in America. You want to pick the safe ones or you want to pick Chicago? Okay. Right. All right. Now, and I can tell you this, there are so many cities. I live in a city, and I won't say what city I am in. Oh, I can say it. I'm in Brunswick, Georgia right now. My friend of mine told me, he said, man, look, there was one murder in 2021 or 2022. And this is a friend, my best friend in the whole world. And I was like, he has no reason to lie to me, but just as what I'm telling you, this is what I did. I said, well, let me go look the information up. Ain't got no time to be offended. Ain't got no time. He's attacking me. That's the fool talking.
Right.
And so what I did was I went and looked the information up. Now, there are people who are listening to us. They can look it up themselves. I don't know what year. It might have been 2020, 2021, or 2022. There was one murder. And I tell the brothers, and it's a word I don't use, get out of the negative word city, negative black people word, get out of them cities. And you don't have to live in an unsafe city. You don't have to be in Philadelphia, Chicago, Philadelphia, Baltimore. You don't have to live in those cities. There are so many cities in America that people who want to be safe can live in. There are too many safe cities in America to compare to the Dominican Republic. I mean, I agree. There are cities in the United States that are much more dangerous than the most dangerous city in the Dominican Republic, which would probably be Santo Domingo. Maybe, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But there are cities in America that are there are cities, but if you took out those 100 cities, I can tell you this is a statistic that I fought people on for years, and not one person has ever really, the United States as a country is a safer place to be than the Dominican Republic based on data and statistics. And people, please look that information up. Look up the homicides per 100,000. Dominican Republic, the year before last, 2 years ago, before Haiti had all these problems, Haiti had less murders than the Dominican Republic. I can't say 2022, 2023, but I would say if anybody's listening to me, look up 2020 and 2021, and then you got to type in murders per 100,000. The Dominican Republic, out of 200 countries in the world, almost 200 countries in the world. Some people debate that it's 201, 193, whatever. There's almost 200 countries in the world. Dominican Republic will always fall generally on homicides per 100,000, number 33, 34, 36, 38, something like that. Usually Colombia falls before the Dominican Republic, and the United States usually falls around 76, 74, even with all the mass murders we have. Now that is difficult for people to hear, but that's because they don't want to look information up.
Okay.
That's simply that.
Let's pivot real quick. Go ahead.
Just say that. Me and Troy looked that up last week, and we found it. And you're right. I was like, It's true. You know, I mean, we in spite and they're like all the mass shootings. I said most of the mass shootings don't lead to death. It just ends up with people being shot.
Right.
So y'all hear about all these mass shootings, but nobody's not dying. People are shot. We do have mass shootings that kill people, and a mass shooting is 4 or more people.
Well, in proportion to our numbers in America, we probably have more killings in proportion to our number. I mean, no problem, we do. You know what I'm saying? In proportion to our numbers. So,
but overall, when it fell, it was like I'm like, no, the U.S. is much safer than the DR by a large swath.
And you don't even want to talk about robbery. I mean, you don't even want to. We won't even get into that. I'll give you a quick statistic.
Okay.
And this is in my book. You're much more likely to get robbed. Let's say where you get stabbed or shot, or there's a higher percentage of you getting for a freaking telephone or something in the DR. As a matter of fact, anybody who goes to the Dominican Republic, you got to lock everything up when you go. And if you have an apartment, like I know nothing about your villa, and even though you live in one of the safer places in the country, but you still have to either be on a higher floor, have have a security guard at the front, or security people with weapons. You know, it's everything is you gotta be very secure in that country.
Right.
I can tell you this: if you live in the country, you can always tell if a person lives in the country or not, because they have a lot of keys. They gotta lock everything up over there.
I do got like these. You know, I want to say this before we go any further, because I know a lot of people say that you know, you getting into like fear mongering and things like that. If anybody else that has a channel wants to come on and talk about
but tell them to look up the numbers before they come on and start talking crazy.
Yeah, well,
just look up the numbers. It only takes 5 seconds to look the numbers up.
Okay, Todd. But we're just going to. I'm going to extend the olive branch. If you wanted to come and discuss your perspective of the island, you know, feel free.
And I'm with Dr. Zaba. If you come talking out the side of your neck, I'm gonna pull receipts.
And then this is the thing, you know, and Marcus Garvey said it best. If you talk to a fool too long, you a fool. I'm not gonna talk to anybody that don't look stuff up. I stopped doing that because it's too much back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's too much to bring just a random. I wouldn't, because he can say I don't feel this way. Well, I'm not gonna. I don't debate feelings. I debate facts and statistics.
Well, what that is,
so I will only talk to somebody who has facts and statistics.
People don't care to do the work, but they want to speak as if they're a voice of authority.
And even though it takes 5 minutes to look it up.
Yeah, and then you can easily you know, we're talking about. You know, I just want to also say that we're talking about here. You know, people want to talk about. Obviously, we all have an affinity for the island because I'm here. I'm living here. I've invested in the island.
You've been 14 years.
You've been 14
I got
years.
a home there.
Big J.
But my book is about critique.
Right.
It's almost if I wrote a book about Trump and I critiqued why he shouldn't be president. And keep in mind, it's why I left.
Right. And you're gonna have some people that love Trump and they're the MAGA supporters.
Right.
No matter what you say about the numbers.
Right. But they would understand it's okay to critique Trump. And it's okay to critique Republic of Dominica. It's okay.
And
everything's gonna be fine.
Can I add just to Dr. Zaba about that critique? Because that does seem to be the sore point. And we talked about it earlier today. Not earlier this week, me and Troy, and even you, Dr. Zaba. And it's like, it's awful eerie where people always want to tell you to go back somewhere, which we've always, right? I'm gonna let Troy get on his tangent about that. Wow. And then in addition to that, what I always tell people, I said, this is the only thing I don't understand about Dominicans. They will not criticize the Dominican Republic, but they will fucking criticize and critique everywhere else. Because I can tell you, every Dominican in America is bitching and complaining about America right beside me. They complain about the cost, the taxes, the weather, the track. They complain about everything. So I'm like, so if you guys can come over here and critique the things you don't like, and no one's telling you to go back anywhere.
Right.
How are you being so butthurt about someone having an honest critique about the place that we've invested in?
Right. I have I went to a all white high school, elementary. We moved from Maryland and Delaware. I remember being the only black kid in class for a long time. That's why I chose to go to a HBCU. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody tell me to go back to Africa. I've never been to Africa. Africa's a large continent. I'm telling you that. So when I got here and I started hearing people say, go back to America, I'm like, man, that sounds awful familiar. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like kind of like the people that were telling me to go back to Africa when I was in America. So I was like, okay, so they share like the same mindset. That used to hurt, man. I'm telling you.
Well, you hit that right on the head. It has that same connotation. It really does. And I have been told that. I have been told that as well. And instead of dealing with what you're saying, they just say, go back. I mean, do you realize there are people in places and they're just going
sorry, Dr. Zaba, to cut you. Coach John is backstage. Coach John is backstage.
Oh,
sorry, Dr. Zaba.
One more second, Coach. Dr. Zaba. Let's do a quick shout out to the people in the chat. Yeah, right. Appreciate that. Nev on the daily. I apologize. We want to sit there and give a shout out to the people that are taking their time out. You could be anywhere, but you guys are here with us. So travel before you die. Shout out, salute to you. Thanks for tapping in. Quan, of course, Quan is the guy. We did a little bro and Nev on the daily, and I think that's everybody that I've seen so far. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll just precede it with a Q, and we'll make sure we ask the doc.
Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button. Y'all hit that like button.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
With the Guan, Nev.
Hey,
I dated a Jamaican for 7 years, so I feel like I got a little part of Jamaican. She fed me so much, so
shout out to everybody, y'all. I just said
my little sister's watching too, and she's trolling me on my phone. So Brittany, what's up? I love you too, Brittany. So we can go on. Y'all give me like 5 minutes. I gotta feed this dog. Give me 5 minutes because she's gonna keep nibbling at my ankles if I don't feed
Okay, I'll take over for a minute, Trey, while you
thank you.
All right. So, but again, John, this is Dr. Zaba, our esteemed guest, the gentleman at the top. He's
Big J, can y'all hear me all right? Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, man.
Salute, John. Salute.
Hey, good to see you again, Big J, and hear from you. And Dr. Sabi, I've been listening to you, man, and you have so much wisdom, way more wisdom than Rico. So I definitely appreciate
it. Why did you think I asked our esteemed guest to come? You know, and love the fact that he's got more time on the island than probably the four of us combined.
I missed the first part. How many years were you? Are you still on the island?
No, I actually did leave because I kind of got tired of people going, if you're going to be critical, then leave. What about the people who live in New York and live there their whole life and they're critical of New York? Do people ask them to leave? No. They just, it is kind of it's kind of like that whole white supremacist mindset thing. Leave. Wherever you're at, you people are going to be critical if they're honest. And that's one thing, being negative. It's another thing just being critical, talking about facts.
How many years did you live in the Dominican Republic?
14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've been living there for 4 years now, and I am different from everybody I don't know about Big J, but I lived amongst the Dominicans. I lived with the Dominicans. When I played with the Yankees for a while, I met so many Dominicans. I had like a extended Dominican family. And when I decided to go to the Dominican Republic, I lived with them. So I never got anything like you need to go back to America or anything like that. I've never gotten that, but maybe I know you guys have, but I have never gotten that. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah,
no, I've never gotten that neither.
Me too. I've never really lived around. I've only gotten that from panels. If you get on and you critique anything, no matter how factual you are, There are brothers who gonna tell you, go on back. Why are you talking about it? Go on back. And I think it's because it's almost like we buy into the Dominican Republic. And when I say buy into it, vested. And so it's kind of like buying a car that you bought too high, you know? And so people are very reluctant to be critical of what they've invested in.
But
And I think it's totally wrong. I think it's bad when it's just all negative. And I think I said at the beginning of the show, I could talk for 400 hours about the positive things about the Dominican Republic. But as soon as we start talking about some of the data and some of the things that, you know, are going on, people will tell you, like they say, go back to Africa. People will tell you, if you get on enough panels and you're critical, and these are Americans who will tell you this
that
too.
was going to say that, Dr.
Not only
Zaba, is I've gotten it from Dominicans and Americans, and I will say you are far more likely to get it if you're critiquing and if you're critical about some things you don't like. If I can sit there and say all good shit, I'm never going to get it.
Don't they? And I don't know this to be true, but don't they still lock people up?
If you say positive things or nothing negative, you'll never hear it.
Right.
But
You'll
if
never
you
hear it.
critique it, you're going to hear it sooner
Yeah.
or later. And I've
Rico
heard
is
it
right.
out
Let me say this. Let me say this real quick. On my channel, the Dominican Route, all the time, Rico and Troy, you always see comments saying, you need to go back to America. You need to do this. But they don't say it to me personally, but they say it in the comments. You don't need to be hanging around those Haitian people. You need to go back to Haiti or go back to America. Yeah.
They do. So it's anytime you choose to be honest, if you choose to be honest and critique it,
No
you're
fuerte
going
con
to
él.
hear it.
¿Tú bien?
But if you just
¿Él
keep
bien? Oh, yo
if you
creo.
just keep saying all that goody good two-shoe stuff, you're not going to hear it. That's just the way it goes, because that's what they want you to do. And I just think, like what Dr. Zaba said, is you got to give both sides, and you have to be authentic and honest. So when you see shit that's going on, I'm gonna speak up about it, just like if I was speaking about it here in America.
Right.
Just
I mean, no one has personally told me to go back to America, because I don't really. I mean, I was in the service, man, so I don't really complain. I'm a complain amongst us, like when we're talking, like if me, Rico, and Coach are talking, or we're in a group chat. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to voice my frustrations about the thing, like if I'm getting ripped off, because sometimes I'm, this construction process. I done been through three contractors. I done been through 3 contractors. Yeah. And Coach, when did we start that project? Coach was there
5 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago.
It's just a 1-bedroom apartment. It should have been completed. And I've had a Haitian contractor, because I had the bright idea to myself. I'm like, man, well, I'm going back to the States. I'm like, man, look, I've always been taught to cut the middleman out. So let me just go straight to the Haitians. They're the ones doing all the work.
Right.
So I went to the Haitians, and the Haitians was like, you thinking to yourself, here is not a skin color thing. It's a nationality thing. So you thinking, oh, okay, these cats look more closer to me. So there's some brothers. Hey man, let's get this going. And they started off great, but then they just was basically like, F you. They started taking advantage of me, trying to come and get money before working, not showing up. So I was like, okay, I gotta fire you. So I fired him.
But I think basically all you saying in a capsule is corruption is normal there. Getting over is normal there. Cheating is normal. It's just really, if anybody tries to tell me that isn't normal, they're lying to you. They're just not being, they're being disingenuous, or they're just not. It is very normal.
Right.
Dominicans, look here, man. Dominicans don't even trust Dominicans, all right? Let's just keep it grits and fish. You got to lock everything up when you're in that country. Now stop it. And when people try to deny that, I think it's a bad thing, because they're trying to make the country look so great. No, just be honest. Just go ahead and say it.
Right.
You gotta always keep your mind. It's almost like you gotta keep being in that country, dealing with people getting over and tricking you and traps. That's normal, man. Unless
on, Doc.
Blake is not. Anybody tries to tell me that that isn't normal behavior, man, you got to watch them Colmado dudes when they come to your house because
No,
they might
listen.
come back on you.
Listen,
Right.
and let me finish up. So I went from the Haitian contractor to a Dominican contractor. He started getting on some mess.
Yeah, I remember.
Now
him.
I have a French Canadian guy that's doing some work, but it's not just it'll be expats that'll try to do you in too. It's not just exclusive to
Exactly.
It's not
Your
just
fuck you
exclusive to the people that are indigenous here. It's like everybody here is on some mess.
Yes.
Man,
I don't know because, for
Well,
instance, I'll give you a story. Go ahead. You go.
No, I'm gonna be real quick. My girl handles all my stuff, and I trust her. But as soon as I try to approach somebody that's Dominican, they try to give me, like, we got pulled over by the police a month and a half ago in the Dominican Republic, headed to Punta Cana, headed to Troy's house, and they wanted 4,000 pesos cash. So I gave my girl the 4,000 pesos, and she was like, she negotiated with him. We ended up giving them 500 pesos a piece.
But did y'all have an infraction or you just gave it to them because they asked?
No, we were speeding. I was speeding.
Ah, okay. I get it.
So,
Look, listen,
they
if
wanted-
I'm speeding, I'm
they-
gonna
they-
get cash up.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a ticket, so I'm about to just give you a 500 pesos. I mean,
Yeah,
you got me.
They wanted 4. They kept on saying 4,000. And I was like, what? And then my girl, she went in the back and talked to him, and she ended up giving them 500 pesos cash a piece. But it's just, that's why I love to have my soon-to-be wife just doing everything. And she do a lot of stuff for me because they always try to take advantage of me as an American.
Right.
But I would go again and say we can throw that honest shit out the window because corruption is not honesty.
Now let me
If
say
you
this.
take
Let me say
bribes,
this.
They're
taking bribes, you're not honest. And I pay a bribe every fucking trip I go because I'm a speed. I speed. I get pulled over. Their hand is out.
Now I will say this.
Always.
Now hold on. I know people are going to watch the video and say there's going to be some whataboutism. And
There are corruption in America.
in my past life, I was doing some things I shouldn't have been doing. But in America, the police will they sometimes they put some things on you to try to arrest you. And I would rather have the problems here because I'd have had some nasty run-ins with police back in America because I didn't see people get beat up just for the hell of it by police. And I didn't see police put drugs on people.
I
So
ain't never seen
there is
take
just for argument's sake,
right.
I will say that yes, there is definitely some corruption in the States when it comes to police. And I will also say that I will take the corruption here versus the corruption because the corruption back in the States. I didn't see brothers get. We've all didn't seen what happens with the police back in the States. So
But I don't think the number of corrupt police in the state pales in comparison. No, I'm talking about overall number.
No, not you.
Basically, every fucking police officer will stick their hand out for some money. I think every last one of them. Every cop in America is not corrupt or taking a bribe.
No. No, Rico, we can't say. We could be speaking education. We speak.
Okay, if I'm gonna speak education, I'll
say every.
I've been to the DR 15 times. I will clearly, definitively say I deserve to get pulled over because I speed. I have a heavy foot, but I expect to get a ticket.
Right.
No, one time I didn't even have the money. They just fucking let me go.
But Rico, would you rather?
I asked for the bribe. I didn't have the money to give them, and they still wouldn't give me the ticket. And I deserved the ticket. I was speeding. That's why I never fight it. I always pay it because I know I speed. I'm like, I deserve to get pulled over. I speed, so I never fight it. I'm always like, oh, let me get my wallet. This one time I didn't have the money on me. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, if you let me run to the ATM, whatever, he just like, just go. But I'm like, and I sped off.
I've gotten hit.
I was speeding there and I sped off. So I'm still speeding.
But I would rather. I'm gonna just say me, because I'm only going to speak from my perspective. I'd rather just give them a little punk 500 pesos than because I've been speeding too. But I'm gonna tell you, back in the States, man, I didn't have police pull me out of the car. I'm from the East Coast up north. It'd be freezing, and they want you outside of the car. They want to start searching you. Then they want to start filling up your leg. I also want to say you got some policemen that may be homosexuals. They start.
But let me say this. Let me say this, fellas. I mean, let me say, fellas. They're what you guys are talking about is like the perception of corruption, and there is an index, and you can look this up on the internet. Corruption perception index. Dominican Republic usually falls maybe 100 points further than the United States. So you can argue that there are people who do study this stuff, and I would say look them up. I can say this: I do there's corruption in every country. It's just the type of corruption you to deal with. But look, John, before you go, man, my book. Can I go? I wanted to tell you this because you're about to get. I am married to a Dominican.
Faded out.
I've always lived. But this is what I want to tell you. I have a chapter. I'm looking at it now. Chapter number 6.
All Latin America is full of corruption at a whole different fucking level.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's debatable. I'm gonna give a 2-minute history lesson on that. But let me tell you this: Chapter 7 is, and I know you've been there for a while, Brother John. It's I think it's a good chapter about. It is entitled "Finding Love in the Dominican Republic: A Step-by-Step Guide to Finding a Good Wife and Settling in." Now, I will say this to you, John. I think one thing that you have done is super important. You're there, and you haven't been there for 3 months, or what the 90-day fiance. You ain't been there 90 days. So you know the person you're with. You know what I'm saying? And so that is the number one, I think, what's the vetting thing that I think people have to do. You have to go live with them. You have to speak the language. You have to be there 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. You got to see when that phone rings, all the. So if you get a chance, pick the book up. That book, anybody that wants to find a woman in the Dominican Republic, that chapter is important. But let me say this.
I need to pick up your book. Well, how can I? You just let me know how we.
He has the link. That book has been selling like I wouldn't believe how many copies it's been selling. And the only complaint is that the font has been too small. I just did a second edition. I put it on there like 2 weeks ago, so the font is really big.
So in other words, you can't find one in America. You got to have your ass in the DR. If you're trying to find a woman,
I think anything's possible. I think anything's possible. I just think that there are certain steps and variables I think you consider. In my opinion, I wouldn't marry a person and don't know their culture and don't know how to talk. I wouldn't do it. I think it's a mistake to marry somebody that you don't know and you don't know their culture. You ain't been over there. And I horror stories, you know. But let me just say this really quick. I'm gonna be maybe 2 minutes. I think there's a historical thing that we have to consider when we consider the corruption in Latin American countries and how they move and how government moves. Latin American countries came out of the institution of slavery pretty late. The Spanish came out of it pretty late before English countries did. And English countries, you know, to establish a country, you got to have banks, you got to have police, you have to have, you know, it has to be structured. And this is why you see the laws. This is why if anybody wants to tell me anything about discrimination in the Dominican Republic or any of these Latin countries, I say go to court. Find yourself in a situation when you're in court, and then talk to me about racism or talk to me about class or whatever. But I will say this. You can go to almost any of these Latin American countries in a plane before you land in a lot of the Latin American countries, you can see the disorganization of structure. You can see the lack of straight streets before you land. Okay. And so the infrastructure is what I'm really driving at. There's a socio-historical reference that we have to consider when we talk about infrastructure. And like I said, Spain came out of this really late. in reference to enslaving people and colonialism and neo-colonialism. And I think that is a factor. I really believe that is a factor because we all know we're talking about the Dominican Republic. And when it comes to infrastructure, the infrastructure is just not it's up to par as what I think most Americans might want it to be, and you know as well as I know, you can be anywhere, man. There's some places in the country, bruh. Well, I'll just keep it there. I'll leave it at that. I just really wanted to kind of give that little historical note that I think that was important.
Hey, Big J, you want to jump in with anything?
Yeah, man, them from across the pond. You're gonna.
No, I'm letting Zaba just drop his book and promote his book and talk about that part. I'll chime in later.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's all good. But one thing I have learned about living in the Dominican Republic, like Rico always say, you really have to protect yourself because people and Troy says it all the time too. They think, oh, American money. Let me try to snake him. Let me try to get him. And I didn't know that in the beginning. Now, my close extended family, I call them my extended family. I have never been screwed by my extended family, my ex-Yankee people, my ex, the people that I live with. I've never been screwed by them. They actually protect me when I'm out. And so that's a blessing. But I know people try to take advantage of Americans all the time.
And John, you got a lot of things going for you. Why? Because you came there and you established roots. Right. And so those people will protect you. But there's a small percentage of men, and I said this before you came on, that will build anything. And one thing that they don't build is family. Right. Most American men who come to that country are not talking about building a family. Very few men have owned property, build anything. And before you came on, I was like, man, it's so ironic. They talk about how cheap the women was. They don't talk about how cheap property was. They don't talk about, and one thing you said earlier, brother, you were saying, Marcus Garvey said this. I'm out of every expat brother, I'm out of any group. I'm not in no group. If it ain't talking about money, family, kids, my grandkids, building a pool, learning how to tile, learn a little bit. I ain't in them groups because guess what? You can tell me what you want. Our internet friends are our friends now. So if you round stupid people, birds of a feather flock together. I'm not entertained by that Jerry Springer stuff. Always about women and all that. Nah, I'm above it. As a matter of fact, and it's going to sound very harsh, but I have to drive this point home. I really have to drive this point home. When I see people fighting, I see people going back and forth on the internet, man. And the last guy, man, I said something about, man, I called him and apologized to him like a baby because I'm not supposed to do that. And two dudes I said I can apologize to. And I was this, man, who we are around is who the F we are. Nobody can convince me. They sit there looking at all that crazy stuff with the passport brothers, and it's good. Nah, they ain't talking about nothing but foolishness. And I'm not saying nothing, but I'm just saying it's a lot of foolishness. And this is going to sound harsh. This is going to sound really harsh. But I have no other way to say it. I told you I got to keep it fish and grits.
Right.
My intelligence is above Jerry Springer. And looking at foolishness every day. If they're not feeding your mind, they're feeding you BS. And that's not an area that I need to be in.
Hold on, but Doc, I want to also say that, what I've learned from going to school is it is your and our responsibility to educate them. Every civilized man's responsibility to teach civilization to other people that may not be where you and I are at. So Doc, I know you don't want to be around it, but you might reach one of those. You might be on a panel and you might reach one of those guys that may start thinking differently because it starts with your mindset. So, like I said, I was in a different place 5 years ago, but it was somebody that was where you're at right now that took the time out to sit me down and say, "Hey, listen, young brother, go this way, go that way."
I think you're right.
That's our job. Our job is to educate other people.
But I will say that
You're right, Troy. I do agree with what Troy's saying, but you have to do that on your own platform. It's almost you go in another. Okay, it's almost me. I'm advocating, guys to go over to Dominican Republic if that's the choice of country they want to travel to, and talking to brothers that want to find relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That same brother's not going to go on a panel full of mongerers. That's just not going to work. So for Dr. Zaba or yourself or Rico or John to go on a panel which is dedicated to mongerers, you're basically talking to yourself.
Facts. You know that. I was about to say that it's like that's the problem. And then you get lost in the shit when you're sitting there and you're surrounded and there's just
That's one thing. That's one thing I like about Rico is that he clears the shit out of the live.
yeah, it needs to be. But here's the problem, though.
That's right.
It's a shame where if you was type in black man DR, you just see one straight through line, nothing but black men whoremonger.
Right. And I'm not, and the thing about it is, man, I can't teach people up. Look, man, I'm like 60. I don't have the patience to be in the gutter. I can be around. I'm not going to be in the gutter to my age. And I know there are some great people. There are some really great people. But at a certain point, you get a certain age, you be like, man, I got to be high. I got to be higher level thinking people, man. I don't have the time or the energy or the patience. Or I got patience with my little grandkids downstairs. I ain't got no grandkids for them dudes who got minds like children.
I got it because, like, my past profession, I was a therapist and a social worker. So I've always been amongst the worst of the worst. And I don't have a problem getting into the mud. And I'm like I said, it's one of my guilty pleasures. Like I'll watch some shows.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's one of my. I call Rico. I was watching one of the lives, and one of the brothers was he had said something crazy. I immediately called. I said, Rico, listen to this. I said, I'm dying laughing. Rico was like, that shit's sad. But
see, I understand it.
But I think people are not
almost
really
like
understanding what Troy's saying. Remember, he said in the beginning, he watches it for the number one word, entertainment. That means he takes none of that seriously.
And look here. Entertain Jerry Springer no more. I'm above.
It's my guilty pleasure. I admit.
That's what I'm like. I get it. I get it. It's almost like outside sending me meals like every day.
But here's the thing, though, Troy. If not for a platform like this, how do we ever expect it to change for black men? Because I'm telling you, literally 98% of the content is whoremongering. So if you go on YouTube, you think there's nothing else to do on the island but to whoremonger because that's the only content you see. So unless there's an alternative out there that's saying, hey, look, yeah, that's fine, but this is what, like you say, hey, there's some good real estate here. There's some good, charitable work you can do here. There's some good, you can come and get away. Brothers having a cigar bar. There's way more content about the island that we should be representing. Whether it's, like I told you, I wanted to learn how to play golf. And not just see a bunch of N-words doing the whore.
I got you. When you come down, we're going to go out to Hard Rock.
But I can't. But here's the thing. If I go to YouTube, black man golfing in the DR, they out there with some hoes. I'm like, y'all do anything but hoes.
Can I quickly make a statement on the whole, because you guys were talking about the whole corruption thing. When you've got government, you are going to have corruption. It doesn't matter where you are on this planet. You are going to have corruption. But here's the difference between America, Europe, England, and all these first world countries. In the third world country, you have access to corruption. That is the difference.
I like that. That's a great point.
That's true. Because in first world countries, we don't have access to corruption.
Yeah.
We just ain't on that level, and that's a fact. And I will say this though, in first world countries' defense, while we have very corrupt governments, our government still does shit for us that we take for granted. And I'm like, in Latin America, they got corruption, and the government ain't even. I get upset about Dominicans and all Latin American people because I'm like, y'all talking about I'm complaining. Y'all should be fucking complaining because the government won't do anything for you. You guys are doing exactly what a corrupt government wants you to do. To take it up the ass and keep quiet.
Facts.
They're not gonna fix your
Facts.
street. They're not gonna do anything until y'all start turning over the furniture.
What they do? They be burning the tires in the street. I'll be seeing a little bit of protest.
And they poo-poo that shit in there. And then if I go out there and say something, shut up, Rico, go back to America. I was like, God damn, you should be marching with me.
You know what? Let me tell you
for
something.
better health care, for better education. Those are the things I would really like to see change in the country.
I was talking to the Haitians when they were working on my house, because the Haitians, very intelligent people, a lot of them speak English, so they working on the house. And I was like, listen, man, y'all need to unionize. So you got it, because they were complaining about how the Dominicans were treating them. I was like, man, if all y'all got together and unionized and shut down the construction of Punta Cana and Barbaro, things would change. They looked at me like I was crazy. They were like, "Are you
Yeah, that's why I'm like,
Well, you see, this is what we do. We bring our first world problems,
Right.
and that don't work. They've got families to feed in Haiti. They ain't gonna work.
Yeah, they were like, you're not. I said, y'all just shut it down. Y'all just have one day. We seeing nobody working. They were like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Hey,
I was like, oh. I said, man. I said, I bet you they would start treating y'all differently.
That's right.
We all just say, hey, look, because I'm going off what we did in the States,
right,
with the boycotting and stuff like that. I said, because you got to hit them in the pocket.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
Whoever's in charge, whoever has power, is not going to just give you power and relinquish.
Right. You got to take it.
You got to take it.
before we go on, I like to talk just to go through 7 chapters, and anybody can comment on anything. Yeah. Can I go through them?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. That's what we're here for.
Come here, boy. Yeah, my damn grandboy. He want to be with me so bad.
Hey, Lil Zaba.
But look here, man. The first chapter is reasons why Dominican Republic might be a suitable destination for you. In it, I talk about so many positive things about the Dominican Republic because I thought that was important, because you'll get the people who will be like, well, don't critique the Dominican. So I had to write a whole chapter about how great of a place it is. And not only that, if anybody asks me, say, hey, well, what's great? I'll be like, man, that's a great place to live, and And I'll stay on that for 10 years. I'll talk about it, how wonderful it is there. So the next chapter is beyond the beaches.
Beyond the beaches?
Yeah, beyond push and pull of factors of the expat departure. There's a reason why you don't have 15-year expats, 20-year expats. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's very little. Then I talk about chapter 3. I'm just simply talking about medical care. I'm talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. Chapter 4, I'm talking about history and ethnicity. I do not talk about the word. I do not use the word race, because trust me on this, and somebody will not believe you, you cannot define race. It is a social concept. And I know people may give me pushback, but try to define it. Try to define the term race, and you can't do it. So when I do talk to Dominicans, I talk to them about DNA. Okay, there's been a couple of studies done on DNA in the Dominican Republic and who they are. Very few African Americans have Indian DNA, whether they want to believe it or not. And I've looked at enough, rather know what your mama told you, your grandmama told you, whatever, I don't care, whatever. Very few African Americans have it. And when you do a DNA test, you'll find out. I remember Chris Rock, Oprah Winfrey, Morgan Freeman. Oh, I'm Indian. Shut up. It was so good to see that, because African Americans kind of believe that whole thing too. Hey, just as Dominicans do. They'll tell you they're Taino and da. But when they've done DNA on most Dominicans, you can look this stuff up. Very few have Taino. Taino people were basically eliminated anyway.
Yeah,
At any
and
rate,
I
I get into the 50 Dominicans on average. The biggest studies that's ever been done on Dominicans, the two biggest studies, they're about 50% have African DNA. I do not use the word race. I do not go into that. So I talk about ethnicity and race. I mentioned somebody said, I think it was you, color is still a big issue there in reference to, I know they look at color. Okay, tourism, I talk about tourism and the how important it is to the economy. It's only about 17% of the GDP. I've heard Americans go, oh, if tourism, no, they won't. People will still live, people will still farm rice, people will still kill goats, people will still kill, the economy will continue without tourism. Anybody can quote me on that, look it up. It's about 17, 18, 19% of the GDP. I think it's 17%, to be honest. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. And I'm going through this really quick. I talk about safety. This is a hard one for most people. Legal system, law, life, and education. The lady that I saw years ago was a lawyer. So I was in the courtroom a lot. And so, like I said, America can talk whatever they want. Don't get caught up in the law system. You're going to be discriminated against. A girl told me one time, she goes, well, have you ever went into Walmart and took anything back? And she said, yeah, Americans do it. Know that, they say, well, that's how Dominicans look at you when you go in the court system. When you go to Walmart and you take something back and you might have broken, they go, well, Walmart got the money. Go ahead and give me my money back. So this is how Dominicans look at you when you go to court. This is why if you get into an accident, if you in the Dominican Republic and you're just visiting, don't drive. They will take your passport and they will keep you in that country for a very long time if you hurt somebody seriously. And they're going to want money for you to leave. And another thing about the legal system, one thing about the Dominican Republic, one of the major reasons why I think I left is because we don't have a lot of recourse. I can tell you this. And I'm going to be graphic now. I'm going to be graphic. If you got any daughters and you got any sons, if somebody hit your child in the head with a hammer, kill them, torture them, whatever, there ain't much recourse. If they pay enough money, they can probably be walking around. There's no recourse. There's not a lot of recourse for Americans. Somebody attacks you or whatever, and somebody comes into your house. You are going to go to jail if you kill that man. Now, you may get off, but you're going to pay somebody because once you get into that court system, you paying folks. All right. So I'm just going through this. I got the last chapter because I want to go through it real quick because I can talk about all these things. You want to talk to me about medical care? I talk about medical care. You want to talk to me about if you go into the medical care, if you need some medical care and they do have private insurance. Don't be surprised if you have to pay out of pocket and they may not let you leave. Y'all have heard these stories. You guys on this panel have heard all of these stories, okay? So people might find it surprising. The last chapter, what I talked to Brother John about, and I think it's an important chapter for people who are looking for marriage, who are looking to get married, finding love in the Dominican Republic. And so I could talk about all of these things. And one more thing I want to say, in the Dominican Republic, like I said, a lot of brothers who travel don't want to talk about Black male responsibility. They just don't want to talk about it in the Dominican Republic, and they really get angry if you talk about most men. 99.9% of men who are not coming to the Dominican Republic looking for no family. Don't let nobody fool you. If they come to the Dominican Republic, it's on some other level for the most part. By far, most men aren't. And I'll say you that, and you know this, Brother John, you know this from living there. You got brothers who will come to your house or say, hey, man, it's almost like, we never talk about sexual addiction in the Black community. We never talk like it don't exist. When the pandemic came, brothers were saying, I don't care if I die, I'm still going. Ain't that crazy? And then let me say this. Brothers will come to your house. Hey, man, come out. They want you to run with them to run behind women. Now, you may have a family, you may have a lady at home, and they want you to come hang out with me. Why? Because they want to run behind women. They'll have you in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods, running behind ladies. Okay. At some point, we get a certain age or you get big there, you be like, man, I ain't trying to do that. I'm trying to just live. I'm trying to be safe. But they can't turn it off. You can't take some of them fellas nowhere. because they got sex on the brain. You take them to a wedding, they talking to little girls. They talking to the daggone girl who married. Some of the dudes, they can't turn it off. You can't take them nowhere. I know I've been talking fast. I know I've been talking, but I just wanted to get through my chapters now to be quiet.
You did great. No, you did great. I want to say this. I got a call from one of the biggest pimps in the Dominican Republic, and just to kind of touch on that, and he wants me to because I just cleared 7,000 subscribers, and he wants me to, every time somebody comes in or calls, he wants me to say, hey, if you're looking for women, you know, I'm gonna give you a small percentage of. I got 1,000 women on hand, on deck right now, and I told him, man, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. So it's just sad to say that, because you are absolutely right. They're not looking for a family. They're looking for just to have sex.
Can you guys hear me?
I can
Yeah.
All right.
Troy.
I know I'm having some issues. I'm gonna come back in. All right. I'm gonna try to.
All right.
Sit down.
No, we can. Go. We can hear you, John.
Okay, Dr. Sabi.
He said,
Dr. Zaba.
Yes, sir.
Zaba.
I said, so I'm thinking of the guy with the nutrition and stuff.
Dr. Sabi. That's a new one.
Saba, Dr. Saba.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you heard my story, but everybody knows it on my channel. I dated a girl about a year ago, and the apartment was in my name, and we dated for about 6 months. I found out she was stealing from me. The police, the Dominican police, put me out of my house, and they told me I had to go get a hotel, and I came back the next morning. All my stuff was gone. So
normal.
But you have a very typical story.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was good, but she had children, and I said, well, why do I have to leave? She said, because they have children. I don't want y'all to fight. I come back the next morning. My Riddick bow toaster gone. My George Foreman grill gone.
She took the George Foreman grill. Oh,
She hit that nigga where it hurt.
I still hadn't got one yet. I'm gonna go get another one pretty soon. But yeah, she took the George Foreman grill.
He eat good off that grill.
boy, that's like, look here, that's like taking the Xbox. You know, come on now.
So yeah, so you know, and a lot of people said they appreciate. I don't tell all my business on my channel, but you know, I tell Troy and Rico a lot of things that I don't talk about. But yeah, that's.
I think it's good to be authentic. I think people can appreciate that. You know, because there's so many channels, and me and Rico was talking about that. There are so many brothers that are just not. They just so nice. They just want to please the audience. They don't want to upset nobody. They don't want to offend nobody. So in a sense, it doesn't make their channel real.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think that's the thing people want.
Right.
I think if somebody I put it to you this way. I'm not going to mention any names, but if somebody was coming to live in the Dominican Republic or be in the Dominican, would they rather want to talk to me, or would they rather want to talk to somebody who's so clean and they just never going to say anything? You know, people want to hear the grits and fish, man.
When we see channels like that, we see channels that again, me and Rico was talking about that the other day about somebody's channel, and they don't want to talk about the detailed stuff. They just want to talk about the basic things. So, and Big J, man, I'm a big fan of you, brother. I really I support you 100%.
I appreciate that, John, man. I appreciate some. You know what? Sometimes I used to wonder, you know, am I reaching who I need to reach with my knowledge and information? You know, because sometimes, you know, don't get me wrong. Like, I totally get it. You know, on YouTube, people want to see tits and ass. And I get it, you know, and I get it. You know, there's a big market for it. I get it. But I also say there's brothers out there that's really looking for a relationship, or, you know, want to leave America or Europe or the United Kingdom, you know, for foreign lands. The problem is that they're not going to find Coach John. They're not gonna find Big J and etc. who does, because it's overshadowed by mongering Sosua, Colombia, Brazil, and and which is fine. If people are vlogging on that and they're showing positive sides, and that's fine. Like I said, I've always said this, and I've said this to Rico on the phone. Is Sosua necessary for those who need it? Yes, it is. The prayer's the problem. And I said this to Rico the other day on the phone. What happened to shame? What happened to a time where, people going on front road, but yeah, I'm a mongerer and I'm a proud mongerer. That's nothing to be proud of. Ooh. That's something you hide in the back of your closet and never to come out. I couldn't look my mum in the face or look my grandfather, God rest his soul, in the face, or even look my 4 daughters in the face and tell them, oh, by the way, I'm a happy, proud mongerer. Your father goes over to foreign lands and sleeps with X, what? No. Yeah. You know what happened to shame? At the end of the day, I haven't got a problem with these brothers doing it, but you know what? Just keep quiet about it. Have some decorum, have some shame.
That's the beauty of it, because and like I told him, I said again, like I said, when my adult sons come over, they go up there, they hitting Xfinity, they going up there to do their business, but they will never talk about it, and that shit ain't going. There you go. They would not be caught dead on YouTube or any other public medium doing that. And my thing is, this is the part that I don't get, right? So I watch these guys, they get these women, they put them on YouTube, right? And I'll be like, oh, look at her. She's sexy. She's beautiful. I'm like, I can see that she's beautiful. I can see that she's sexy.
But she's an undercover prostitute.
And I can see she's a fucking whore.
Yes. Yes.
You think I don't see that part?
They can't see that. No, they can't see. They can't.
I can't see.
They can't spot the difference, Rico.
That you put your lips where somebody else's dick was that morning. Because these are the type of women that you guys are flexing, someone who has been run through repeatedly.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there strutting her up and down like, look at what I'm doing. You paid the fucking price. You didn't do anything but paid.
You paid less. And you pay less.
I don't give you paid less. I don't give you paid more. I wouldn't care if you got it free. She's a whore.
My point is, Rico, why they don't do that in the United States all the time? You don't see those.
Oh, exactly, John. The same brothers that wouldn't wife a whore back home will go and wife a whore in Dominican Republic and look in your face and try to convince you, oh, she's different. She's a good girl. Like, no, she's not.
Jay, can I piggyback on what you're saying?
Yes.
Of course, sir.
I won't say
I
won't say the W word, but I will say this. I'll say it this way. I think
escorts, if you prefer.
Well, I will say it this way. This is kind of my chapter, how to find a good woman. Men will come to the Dominican Republic and get serious with a girl who really don't have a history of working, really doesn't have a history. And I always say, if you're 30, she should have 10 years of working, not be telling you she's going to school, not be telling you, I ain't working this month. So that will mitigate a lot right there. And so what I'm trying to say, and I'm piggybacking on what you're saying, Brother Jay, men will come to the Dominican Republic and get with a woman who has very little to no education. They would never do that in the United States. They would never go to the projects and get serious with a woman, but they'll come to the Dominican Republic because a girl might be pretty and do that. And that is one of the problems. I was told a long time ago, and I've always kept it in my mind, if you go into a woman's house and she got like 10 books up in there, marry her. Because, and so I'm being a little bit facetious, but you get the point.
Right.
You don't just because a person has a certain look you don't get so, you don't lose your
All common
senses.
sense.
You know,
Dr.
'cause,
Zaba,
you know,
I think
yeah.
it runs deeper than that, right? It runs way deeper than that. You go to Sosua right now and walk down Pedro Clasante, however you bloody pronounce it, right? You'll see brothers that are 300 pounds, 400 pounds, waddling from side to side with an itsy bitsy chick. Okay, these brothers are unhealthy. They're ready for type 3 diabetes.
Yes.
Where's my damn
Good.
dog?
Right?
That's good.
These are brothers that haven't had that luck back home.
No.
So they don't know how to fish. So they'll go to the pond full of barracuda, full of piranhas and fish. Right? Brother Troy, I overheard Brother Troy. Okay, so I heard Brother Troy said that he lived in Paula Plala, and I know John lives in
no.
Santo Domingo.
No, I live in
Right.
Barbados.
I've lived in both places. Now, in the United Kingdom, I am what you consider a dog.
Okay.
Woof woof. Right? When I went to Santo Domingo with my Spanglish, because I do speak Spanglish, I had no problems talking to women. I had no problems going. Oh, sorry.
Go
Go ahead, Jay.
I'm sorry. I was
I had
talking
no
to my
problem.
wife.
All right.
Oh, sorry. I had no problems, you know. I mean, go to Duarte at 5 o'clock, or you go in the subway 5:30. You'll see some beautiful working women coming back from work in abundance. The law of averages. I overheard Brother Troy talking about he lived in Puerto Plata. I used to live in San Marco before living in Las Carabas. Same thing, San Marco, Semicampo, beautiful women, you know, wholesome women. There are good women there. There are good women you can marry. There are good women that you can date. The problem is brothers just need to spot the difference. It's like me coming to America right now. If I end up where Dr. Zaba is in Atlanta, or I'm not quite too sure where John is, just say for argument's sake, John's from LA and Rico's from Florida. I need to know the landscape of what the women are like. So if I'm coming to Florida and as an outsider, I'm going to be asking Rico, where's the good women at?
But you know what? You know what? No, brother Jay.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, that's who you're gonna attract. Whatever it don't matter where you go. I'll put it to you this way. You know, there's an old saying. There's an old saying like wherever there's a good woman, there's a good man behind her, whatever. I'll put it to you like this. This is how I see it. You will never see probably, let's say somebody like Barack Obama with somebody ratchet. It's because of who he is. I can always look at, you can always look at a man.
Dr. Zaba, with respect, I've slept with ratchet women, but I've known what they are. Ratchet women. You have fun and you leave it. Like
No,
my
what I'm
grandmother
trying
used
to
to
say
say.
is who
My
you
grandmother
get
used to
serious
say this,
with.
God rest her soul. When you pick up shit, put it back where you find it.
Well, this is the thing, brother. You shouldn't be dealing with candy that rottens your teeth.
Hold on. Remember what I said? I said in United Kingdom, I was considered a dog. Woof woof. It didn't change when I went to Dominican Republic. I just hold on. I just calmed down.
Well, we're not talking about you personally. What we're saying is,
I'm just using me as an example.
What I'm saying to you is this, though, brother. If I see you 5 years from now, whoever you got serious with, it's going to say a lot about you. It says more about you.
I agree.
This says more about you than her. Now, I'm going to say this to you. I ain't picking up crap. So we shouldn't be even thinking about picking up crap.
I think you. Right. Okay. Let me answer. No, because you're right. But let me just answer. Right. Okay. I ain't talking. Okay. I only can talk for me. Right. Excuse me. I wasn't going to Sosua to pick up, women from there. It was women from my neighborhood. Women, hold on. I was still being a dog. It was women that were working at the bank, at the banker. It was women having a little cleaning job. You know, I used to live down the road from them. They used to live, I used to meet them in the gym, etc., etc. But I didn't feel I needed to take $200 and say, "Oh, here you go." No, I didn't need to do that at all. I was just being a dog.
Right, but
Just like
I don't prefer to concentrating on you being a dog.
No. I think you're missing the point. My point is that brothers, if that's the type of lifestyle brothers want to live, they can live it differently. That's all I'm saying. They don't need to be in these places.
And that's what I was saying. That's the point that I think you really
my
piggyback.
thing is this, Dr. Zaba. As you know, I was dating women in the Dominican Republic. I've heard people say, "Oh, Dominican women, this and that." No, I chose who I dated very carefully. I also chose being with a Dominican lady. She put me onto land in Barbaro.
But I'm just saying that who we deal with is a reflection of us. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. I think what you're saying is,
to wifey, yes.
Okay.
I think what you're saying is, I used to be not where I wanted to be, so I was dealing with ratchet.
No, I was quite happy. I wasn't ready for I was quite happy being a dog. I just weren't really I just wasn't gonna pay $200 for it, and that wasn't at the front of my head. The front of my head was, you know what? I need to find some goddamn land.
Can I ask both of you guys a question?
Go.
And this is the thing that, because again, even with the part, Zaba, when you say, who we choose to define who we are, I wonder, it's funny because Jay mentioned the aspect of the 300 and 400 pound men with the little skin. So, even along that same line, it's like, I don't understand what's the fascination with men in their mid 50s to 60s
going out of a 19-year-old,
a 19 or 20-year-old. It just defies logic. You see all of these heavily skewed mismatches when they decide to go overseas. So I'm like, you motherfucker, you tell me you couldn't find a nice looking woman within a 10 to 15 year age range of, if you're 50, you couldn't get them at least at 35?
Hey, yo, but
I get that.
We're getting
and I think I see an abundance of men doing it. Then they're crying because they feel like they're raising a child. I'm like, because you fucking are.
Yeah.
You went over and decided you're going to wife a child, like that's somehow going to make you younger. It's not going to make your old fucking ass any younger.
No, it isn't.
You're still going to be that same old piece of shit that you were. You're paying her for her time and attention. I will say this: a 20-year-old Dominican woman no more wants to be with a 50-year-old man than a 20-year-old American woman. She'd much rather, she's looking for a sugar daddy. She much rather a younger sugar daddy. But since you old, she hoping you hurry the fuck up and die.
God damn.
That's the problem. But no, that's the norm.
And that's happened.
A lot of these countries, whether it be Thailand, Colombia, once they hook up with that old guy, they're doing everything they possibly can to speed your ass right up out of here.
Feeding you a whole bunch of salt. Feeding you a whole bunch of salt and shit.
They don't have a desire to want to be with someone that far. But these guys are pushing this narrative. Oh man, you're 50, you can go out and get a 20. No 20-year-old wants your old ass in any country on the planet.
Not for me. Right. I'm 45 years old. My wife's 35. That would do me. That would do me.
And you're still winning, which I don't understand. I'm like,
that would do me.
You're winning there.
Yeah, I'm 47. My girl is 42 years old. So
and you're still winning. Why the hell
still winning?
20-year-old.
I don't got
your kids' age. when all of us got children here that age, right?
Right.
All of us got
Troy, I can't say I blame you.
Right? Troy got kids that age. I got kids that age. Zaba got kids that age. John, your kids are almost that age, and I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure yours are almost that age. So why would we want to date?
Oh, my oldest is 29. My eldest is 29.
Right.
Yeah, my situation here is that like I can't I understand what it takes to be in a relationship here because you're not just gonna date the woman. You know what I
No.
mean? You're gonna date the whole
The whole village.
The whole
Yeah,
you're
there
gonna
you
date
go.
the- you're gonna date
It
the
What about
it depends what like, right. You're right, Troy. I can't not agree with what you're saying, but it all comes down to it depends what woman you get with. If she's gonna, and I hear this all the time, they put their family first. In most cases, yes, they do. But my thing has always been this: look, I am your husband. I come first. If I don't come first before your family, then we can't move no further because it's just me and you rocking. I'm not here to look after the whole of your family.
I like that.
That's not what I'm here
I
for.
like that too. I like that too. And what it boils down to, Jay, and I agree with you 1,000%. Who you are is how people will react to you. And
Yes.
there are some men that just aren't going to play that. And some men be like, well, you don't control it. Then he's not going to be with that woman.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I think we have a lot to do with how people treat us.
Okay.
Can I also just elaborate? And when I mean by families, this is what I'm talking about, right? So my wifey, she has a daughter, right? I have 4 daughters. I've heard a lot of men say, "Oh, I won't date no Dominican woman with kids." My thing, how can I look another woman in her face and tell her, "Well, I don't want to date no woman with kids," when I've got 4 daughters?
Well,
Right.
but see, but Jay, the crazy part about that is, I'm like, then you ain't gonna date too many Dominican women.
No, because
Because they all have
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very
They
early.
start, they start having babies at 16, 17, 18
And
years
look,
old.
Exactly.
This is the other part I wanted to add to that because I this is the conversation me and Troy said, and I think this is where a lot of people come over to the DR. And again, I think it applies to everywhere where they make a major mistake. We're expats. Jay, you're from England. The rest of us from the U.S. I
Yes,
don't care how long we live in the DR, how much Spanish we speak, whatever. At the end of the day, until
You're
we
fucking
close our
gringo.
motherfucking eyes, we will
You're
never be
gringo.
Dominican.
No.
We're not going to be
Nope.
Dominican. And I think we do a disservice where, like you said, when you get into these relationships and you're trying to take on all of their culture and not insisting that they take on some of yours.
What did I tell you, Rico? I said
Right.
I'm not. I felt.
I'm not trying to be
Troy,
Dominican.
Troy, you talk about that all the time, Troy.
Nah,
Fuck that.
I'm not.
Not
I'm
if
not.
I gotta pay, it's gonna be my way. This gonna be an American household in the DR.
Right.
That shit. Because I tell them all the time, I don't have to drink fucking Presidente. I ain't gotta listen to no fucking batata. I ain't gotta do nothing but follow the law.
And
That's
I'm,
what I have to do. Everything
Yeah,
else is optional.
Hey, y'all, real quick, man. I enjoyed y'all. I got to get off. I got to take my medicine and get some rest, man.
Brother,
right. We
Troy.
got about 13.
Salute, John. Salute.
We got
Hey,
about
Get well soon, man. Get well soon,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. Get right, John.
rest up and heal
Hey,
up.
John,
brother.
thank you for coming through and supporting, bro. I appreciate
Yes.
you, man.
all the time, brother. God bless y'all. Y'all take care.
All
All
right.
right, man.
Later.
But that's the thing I try to get brothers to put. I'm like, look, it's fine to want to go into the country and to learn some things about the country.
Right,
But
right.
don't try to turn your, like I tell people all the time, I say, look, just like I'm a nigga in America, I'll be a nigga in Japan, Germany, South
UK.
Korea. Because the bottom line is that's what we're going to be. I'm not.
They will beat your black ass with a truncheon in London,
Right.
believe me. They
When
might
I
not
go to
shoot you, but
France-
they'll beat you with a truncheon.
I tell them all the time, when I go to France, I'm not a fucking Frenchman. I'm a nigga in France. That's
Yeah.
it. So I don't take this concept that I have to become all of what, because what I also look at is one beautiful thing I say about America is we don't require anybody to leave their culture, customs, or beliefs where they go.
Bring it with
They
you.
bring that shit with them.
Bring it with you.
They
Mhm.
bring all that shit with them.
You
So I'm
know-
like, if they can bring their shit here, I can take my shit there.
You know, I'll tell you something that people may not believe, but there I go again. Look it up. There is a law, and I can't get the law off the top of my head. It's in my book. That think about it like this. I'm gonna ask. I'm just gonna think of this in your head. Have you ever seen a Haitian flag flying proud and strong?
No,
If you have, you've only seen it once, twice, 3 times. Where they just, it's a law against flying.
Once, twice.
It's
Twice.
a law against flying Haitian flags. Now, even Dominicans don't know this. And when you say this to Dominicans, oh, you crazy? I just go look it up, or text me so I can give you the daggone legislation. Now, this is the thing. Anywhere you go, Dominicans flying their flag. Anywhere you
Sorry,
go.
Dr. Zaba, sorry to cut you. Sorry, manners and respect. Troy, with your permission, is it okay if I can send a friend a link to jump onto the panel so we can add on to what we're talking about, if that's okay?
No problem at all. I
Okay.
have no problem.
I appreciate that. Sorry about that, Dr.
No,
Zaba.
it's good. And so there is a law against, I remember, I've seen them like tear down Haitian flags. You can't come in America, Dominicans be flying their flag like, yo, I'm up in this piece.
On
And
the
I'll say
car,
this to
the
you.
house,
There's
the clothes, everything
yeah,
you can wear.
there's another thing that I really, me and Rico talked about it a couple of days ago, the immigration issue. One thing that really rocks me the wrong way, that retroactively denying a Haitian citizenship. Now, I'll say this to you. Can you imagine Dominicans who are living in the United States, if somebody said to them, find me, you got to have a record of somebody from, I don't know if it was 1922 or 1924 in your family, unless you're going to get shipped back. You realize how many Dominicans would get shipped back? Do you know how many Dominicans in the Dominican Republic can't go back to 1920 something? But they took a lot of Haitians out of the Dominican Republic, and it's still happening. And they're deporting them as a result of that law that happened, I think, in 2012 or 2014. Unfortunately, that's going on. And I'll say this to you. I understand that all countries should have immigration policies, but they that the way that they feel about a lot of Haitians is something. But guess what? Every Dominican you can find trying to get up out of there. And I talked to you about this, Rico. I hear Americans say it's a paradise. It's a paradise if you got money. Once you stop spending money over there, ain't no paradise. It ain't how many Dominican people talking about it's a paradise? It ain't no paradise for them. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no paradise for them. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say this, the only reason why the only reason why it's a paradise for Americans is because they like a pinball machine. Remember them pinball machines? Until you stop putting coins in that damn machine, it's gonna shut off. It's gonna tilt like a mug. And as soon as you stop putting coins into the Dominican Republic, it will not be a paradise for you. Okay. And so when I'm just talking about the whole immigration thing, they trying to go everywhere they can go, but they don't want nobody to come at that. It's that xenophobia, bro. It's that like Americans in America, they be talking about Mexicans, they be talking about people coming here, but you go anywhere in the world, you see white people. Okay, they want to go. That's like Dominicans when it comes to Haitians. Dominicans want to go to Spain, Italy, the United States, but they be tripping about Haitians coming into their country. And I'm gonna say this to you also, and I meant to say this earlier. When you critique a country, it is almost like talking to white people in America about police brutality. And me and you talked about this the other day, Gino. When you talk to white people in America about police brutality, you know what they're gonna say to you? What about New York? What about Chicago? And that's what they're gonna say to you. And then because they don't want to stick on the issue. So what they'll say is, when you say there's police brutality, they'll say, well, let's talk about the good police. What about the good ones? You know why they don't want to talk about police brutality? Because they want to divert the conversation. They don't want to acknowledge that police brutality exists. Right. So instead of talking about police brutality, they will divert that conversation. And this is what Uncle Tom Americans do in the Dominican Republic.
What it does?
If you critique the Dominican Republic, the Uncle Tom Americans will be like, well, what about Chicago? They act like it ain't over 30, 40,000 cities in America. They keep talking about Chicago. And so it's important to be able to critique a country. It's important. It's very important not to shut people down and shut people up, because I'm gonna tell you, most American channels are afraid to do it. Most men who go to, they are afraid to do it. Most Dominicans are afraid to critique their countries, and them people will hurt you, man. If you talk that's ignorance. That's like them ghetto dudes will hurt you for talking about, you go in the ghetto talking about something they don't agree with. Man, them dudes might kill you up in there, but that's ignorance. And that's that ignorant. And I'll tell you, and I got to say this because I'm still talking about the book a little bit. The education system in the Dominican Republic. Okay. There was an exam that was in 2019, 2020. Almost 90% of Dominican professors could not pass the exam. Do not believe me. Go look it
No,
up.
this is fact.
Go
He's
look
not
it up.
lying. You know, I call them quack. We call them in the UK. We call them in UK quack doctors. They got all. But when you think about it, and to add on to what Dr. Zaba said, all these people in these education levels of power over there is because families, they paid to be there.
Yeah.
They paid to be there. When you check their education, they'll jump up and they'll say they're educated. But when you really check their level of education, you're like, hold on a minute.
Let me say a little bit. Let me say a little bit about education really quick. Almost 90% of professors in the Dominican Republic could not pass the basic skills exam.
Same in the UK. Same in the UK, Dr. Zaba.
And we talk about the Dominican Republic right now. And so when I say, because I don't know nothing about the UK. So
no, I'm just saying, same in the UK. They would never pass. They wouldn't, you know.
I don't know, but I'm getting my book, and in America it ain't like that. So because in America,
no, I said they won't pass in the UK as well.
And in the United States they will, because I taught for a number of years. You to be a certified teacher, you got to pass some exams. But at any rate, we're talking about Dominican Republic education, and so at least that's what I'm thinking. And so I'm thinking to myself, like a lot of men in America, a lot of schools in the Dominican Republic that are international schools, because you get these people talking, I'm gonna send my kids to these schools, and these schools are private. I'm telling you, brother, a lot of these, and you find Americans teaching in these schools, a lot of these people who are American or teaching in schools don't have any state certification in the United States, and just as I said, I really don't believe in higher level education in the Dominican. I don't. And I'll say this. Let me say this. I know I'm on a roll. The president of the United States, of the Dominican Republic, I think he has, I don't want to say that. I'm going to say I think he has one of his children doing school in America. But I will say this. He had a procedure done. He had a procedure. Let me roll. He had a procedure done in the look, he had no procedure done in the Dominican Republic. He came to the United States. Now, we think if the president can't get the best medical care, that says a lot about the country in the Dominican Republic. And I'll say this also. I think that if you look, and a lot of people don't like this. The reason why a lot of people don't like this, because they don't want you to say anything great about the United States. They want to say, although most YouTubers, most people getting their money from the United States, all right? But they don't want you to say anything. I will say this, look up the top universities in the world. Just look it up. And I'm the just look it up guy, right? By now,
Troy,
you know, right?
You got to guess backstage.
Look it up. Just look it up. Where are the top universities in the world? If you look up the top universities in the world, top 25, top 20, almost 23 of them are going to be in the United States.
UK.
And then let me say this.
It's
I'm
in the
just
UK.
saying, just look it up. And then let me say this. Just look it up. That's all. I mean, until somebody. And the thing about it is, I don't like to talk about information when people have not looked it up. And I've studied this stuff for years. So look up the top universities in the world. All right.
It's in the
And
UK.
almost 20, if you go 25, 23, 22 of them will be in the United States. Don't believe me. Trust me. Don't believe me.
Hey,
Now,
Doc,
people can talk about high school education and but we don't go to other countries. Americans don't really go to a lot of other countries to get higher level of education. People come to the United States. Japanese, Haitians, Africans, they come here.
Hey, Doc,
You're right.
let's let Rico jump in. Go ahead, Rico.
The top 20 universities in the world, in the U.S., all of them are in the U.S. with the exception of 2. One, Big J, you can't claim Oxford University is on the list. They're in the top 5, and there's a university in China.
And Cambridge.
Every other, no, Cambridge didn't make the list.
Oxford.
I didn't. Oh, okay.
Oxford
Okay.
made
Hold
it.
on, guys.
I mean,
Hold
they
on
were
1
up
second.
there, but they weren't in that top 20. In the top 20, 18 of them are in the United States. One was in England, which was Oxford, and there was one university in China.
Or was it Japan? I don't know, but go ahead.
Every
Hold on,
other
guys. I'm
university
trying to
on
bring.
that list
Hold on, real
is
quick.
Ivy
Rico.
League schools
Go
in
ahead.
America.
Rico,
Right.
hold on. We're trying to bring Onk up. I don't know, Onk, if you can hear me, but it's telling me that your devices are not connected, so your camera's not connected and your mic is not connected, so I can't bring you up. But,
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay.
Onk.
You probably
Okay.
got to click and say
Granddaddy.
access.
There we go.
But
Okay.
There we
Yeah,
go.
welcome
Good
to the
evening,
panel.
gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, but I did want to I had made a fascinating point that I thought about was the whole narrative around again, and I kind of wanted to ask you guys, like, okay, so let me ask you this, Doc, okay, and you too, Jay, and you can chime in too, like, what sort of impact do you guys think? Because for me, like, we're here, we're on YouTube, we're in this YouTube space, trying to change the narrative around Black men and living in the Dominican Republic. But we know the headwind we have, believe it or not, are other content creators in this space. So we're not going on at panels. I'm with you, Dr. Zob. I'm not wasting my time fighting the shit throwing monkeys. But the reality is, what do you feel is the negative impact, or do you feel like that all these other YouTube channels, and I gotta lump them all in together. I'm not gonna name any of the big channels, but I'll say on the DR, the creep cameras as well.
Oh, that's
They're all lumped in there.
Creep cameras.
Yeah. So do you believe they have any positive impact? If so, I would love to know what it is. What's positive? People say, "Oh, it told me about the country," but if you can only go to a country based on horse, to me that's just a problem. Or,
You're gonna have that all the time. Here's my thing.
okay.
Right, negative. Do I find it negative that a grown ass man's gonna take his money and, travel to, as they say, the big 5 to go and get his rocks off? No,
I thought he said the positives about.
I said, do you?
Hold on,
see
hold on,
they
let me-
have any positives?
All right.
Right.
Oh,
Let me ask these
oh.
questions. Right. I don't find here's the problem that I find is that, as I said, that I believe. Okay, let's take Brother Troy. Brother Troy has made it clear he's single.
Yes.
He's living in where are you? Punta Cana now, Troy?
I'm in Barbara.
Oh, you're in Barbara. Okay, where my land is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing doesn't need to be said no more on that. He's doing his thing. He's not posting it on, YouTube. He's not trying to get, oh, I'm the guy. He's hoo-ha moment. He's not doing that. Here's the problem. When you got brothers trying to find a good woman or try to get into a relationship, they don't know what direction to turn because they feel, oh, this is what I do. I go to Sasua, I walk up and down. Oh, okay, I can turn a whore into a housewife. They lose their goddamn common sense because there's not enough channels like Troy or yourself or me. There's not enough channels promoting that. Channels are okay. I spoke to Brother Milton. Shout out to Dominican Rendezvous. I had a conversation with Milton. Dominican Route. Thank you. No, not Dominican Route. Dominican Rendezvous.
I'm saying both of them.
Milton. Yeah, Milton.
Yeah, Rendezvous
right.
and Route. Both
Shout out to both of them.
Yeah.
He done a video the other day Now, the video in question that he done the other day, I know this guy, that the video that he done about. You meet this guy in person, he's one of the loveliest people and I'm not going to say no names. People can go to, Dominican Rendezvous channel and see what he's talking about. I've met this guy in person. Wonderful guy, right? But when he's advocating for brothers to go to a whore destination and do not use a condom, to me,
Nah,
Yeah.
bro. Hey, listen.
to me, that is
probably why I'm single.
irresponsible.
If I stay strapped up, I couldn't tell you what vagina feels like out here. I
But you're right, though, Jay.
I keep a condom on.
It's irresponsible to push
Irresponsible.
that narrative and fucking dangerous. And some young 23-year-old named Troy gonna listen to this motherfucker.
Nah. Listen, listen, I'm strapped up out here. That's for one, I haven't had a vasectomy yet. And two, I know what happens when you start to get that thing, your mind, you're not gonna start thinking. This right here is gonna get clouded. You're gonna make poor decisions. I know that. I'm older.
And in the back of your mind,
yeah.
you got this big YouTuber telling you don't need to. You can trust a whore.
No, don't do that. Don't
You
do
can
that. Listen to
trust
me.
a whore.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's facts. They're telling you this.
Can trust
You can trust a
Say
whore.
it out your mouth and see that shit makes sense. I can trust a whore.
Yeah. And then what they want to do is at the same time trust that whore in Dominican Republic. They want to disrespect the black women back home.
Boom. Boom.
To me,
Boom.
that makes no sense. That makes
Boom.
no sense.
But you know what? Like you said, Jay, it's deeper. We're gonna peel the layers of the onion back a little bit.
Let's go, man.
A lot of these guys.
That self-hatred
A lot of,
that we
there
got.
you go.
We got a lot of
gentlemen.
self-hatred.
This I call when you get your passport and you get overseas. It's like you got into the end zone. You got some brothers when they get in the end zone, what do? They get a ball to the ref and they go back because they've been there before. You got some brothers that take a knee, give thanks to God. And you got some fools that want to dance and they want to show
First
you their
line
role.
there, don't know if you ever gonna
But you
get
know what
back.
it is? It's because back in the States or wherever they came from, they weren't the top dog. They weren't the first.
Nah,
They
of
were
course.
made fun of. They were made fun of.
Yeah.
I think I was on John's channel, and I was telling Rico, and I'm like, "Hey, look, I'm 16. I'm 215 now. But when I was in the States, I made over $100,000. I own my own home. I pushed the Porsche 911 Carrera drop top. I was getting play in the States. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the past women that I dated in the States, beautiful. My ex-wife was from Honduras. So when I got here, I was accustomed to seeing beautiful women.
Exactly.
I wasn't thinking about the women here. I was thinking about how can I get some money here? How can I invest here? How can I retire from the States and just come live here? That was my whole objective. The women are like God, I was watching some panel and this guy said that. Who said that? What channel was I watching and a brother said this, man? He was on Andre from
Love Crossing Borders.
I love that brother. I love Dre. I love Dre and I love.
I can't say the same thing.
Dre was talking to. Hold on, Rico. Dre was talking to that guy from the Teeth Network, Mr. Get Down, and Dre was like,
Mr. Let Go.
Mr. Let It Go, whatever his name is, the bald head cat that's always on the show.
Mr. Let Go.
Yeah, and Dre was like, the women are just a cherry on top of the cupcake.
I do agree with.
It's more than just the women. You got some brothers that are just traveling for the women, but you if you look at them, they all got the similar characteristics. But the intelligent brothers and the ones that are moving are like, okay, I can make a move, I can make a play over here. I can change my life over here. Like Dr. Zaz, I can level up over here. You see what I'm saying?
Can I add on to what Troy said?
See the women, and they like, damn, I gotta get. But I've already been there and done that, man. I went to a black college, so I've seen the cream of the crop of black women. I've been going to Myrtle Beach since I was 8. I've been to Miami. I didn't been to New York. That's another thing. If you go to New York, certain parts of New York, like if you go up to 150th, you're gonna think you're in DR.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Miami,
If you,
you
yeah,
can
if you know anything about
nothing
150,
in DR
120,
Columbia can touch Miami.
yeah. So if you go to
No.
NY, go to Jersey, you're gonna see Hispanic, Latinas. They're in America. You don't have to come here if this is the type of woman that you want. You can go to New York and see that. So I say that to say this is like here, yes, there's beautiful women, but there's also opportunities if you look at them and if you want them. Some brothers don't want the opportunity. Some brothers want to travel just for some trim. I ain't mad at you. I'm not the penis police, but there's also other opportunities here. We need to take advantage of the opportunities that are also here.
But the problem is the penis police. I mean, not the penis police. The brother that's traveling for trim got the loudest fucking voices.
Well, that's because sex sells. Sex sells, man. Controversy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is sex sells, but the problem is it's the loudest voice and it's the most damaging voices because that's all it is sex. It's nothing else. It's an empty barrel. It makes the most, like I said, empty barrel makes the most noise.
Right.
It makes the most noise. So the fact of the matter is, I don't care about them traveling for trim or sex. I don't care about all that. I just wish it was proportional to its influence. It has an outsized influence. We already said, as black men, as Dr. Zaba said earlier, we're over-sexualized. We're hypersexual to the point that, guess what? Sex sells and we're buying. But we don't own shit. So we're not getting real estate. We're not getting property. All we're buying is pussy.
And I would say this, and I would say this to others. Would you find 4 Jewish men saying the word women? I don't even say that word. Would you even find 4 men, Jewish men, saying women?
No.
There you go. We shouldn't be saying it. F the women.
That's all we're doing.
We should be talking about money, leveling up, children, grandchildren, building a legacy. When somebody tells me, like today, man, you know what I did today, man? Which is a blessing. My grandkids came to see me, man. We went to go see alligators, and I saw them play out in the yard in the pond and jump around. You see, how many passport brothers talk like that? How many Jewish men would be on here using the word dating? I don't use that word because I know what the word means. What the word simply means is, I'm just out here. I'm out here. That's really what it means. And it doesn't mean, look, man, it's hard to build without teamwork. It's hard to build without teamwork. If you have a team player, it just makes, and I know that so many people are discouraged with being on a team. I get it because
black people don't understand the word consortium. They don't understand consortium. This is our problem.
Because of how the laws are. But as long as somebody is talking about dating, we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing.
Let me add on. Let me just say something.
Let me just say it. And so, again, how is it possible to find 4 Korean men, 4 Jewish men, 4 Japanese men, 4 Indian men,
to that.
4 Mexican men? Do I need to continue talking about dating?
Let me add on.
Traveling. You know what those guys are talking about? How can we cut this grass over here? How can we get a team together? We have to think in terms of teamwork. Either it's with a spouse, because let me tell you, brother, there are too many of us paying for women's children's education instead of paying for our sisters' education or our children's education. I mean, when I start hearing brothers who travel,
but sometimes
let me roll a little bit. Travel travel and they don't say they ain't taking their mama nowhere. Again, and they ain't talking about I'm taking my kids somewhere or my grandkids somewhere, because y'all ain't that young either. You know what I'm saying? And so when people ain't talking about building family, I'm telling you, this is hard for me. When people are not talking about building family, and they're talking about leveling up, they worried about what other brothers are doing. We don't have the time. Let me say this, brother. Anybody who knows you, in 3 generations, they're going to be dead. They're going to be dead. And nobody's going to know you. Think about it. Do you know your great, great, great granddaddy? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, man, we got to live this life, man, and we got to build. All this dating talk, these ain't what Indian men do. This ain't what Jewish men do. It ain't what Mexican men do. You building or you're not. And that's the only thing, and I'm not saying it's the only thing that matters, but it is huge.
Yeah, but Dr. Zaba, at the same time, I hear what you're saying with respect. At the same time, Dr. Zaba, you still have a lot of men coming here looking for relationships and don't know what they're bloody doing.
I get it.
How do you combat that?
Only put the information out.
Listen, it's all good.
We can't worry about those guys. Our life is so short. Do you realize we're all past middle age?
Dr. Zaba,
and
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. At the same
we don't have time to be worried about those
but at the
guys.
same time, listen,
we have to focus on our lives.
At the same, yes, I'm fully focused on my life, but at the same time, I have a YouTube channel and I have a responsibility to find brothers like me, to find brothers like you, to find brothers like Rico that are lost in the wilderness, because there are brothers that Dr. Zaba, do you know how much brothers I've bumped into? And they've said to me, oh, Big J, I need some advice from you. Where do I find a good woman? Because, you know, I was in, like, what the hell are you doing there?
Let me say this to you, man.
Hold on.
Let me say this to you, though, Jay. If you move to that country,
I haven't landed.
If you move to the country, them dudes will drive you insane. They will. I'm telling you, brother, you can't keep up with.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point because I haven't landed. But I'll let you continue.
Go.
Right. I understand what you're saying, Dr. Zar, but I hear you. I'm fully concentrating on what I'm doing. I'm good. Just a little segment because I wanted to touch on what Troy said, something very important earlier, and I did say if we can sort of like circle back to the whole, you know, Troy lives in Barbaro. That's where my land is. I don't know if you know a place called El Hectivo, Troy.
That's where he lives.
Okay. So El Hectivo, if you go further, there's a new development.
I know where that's at. Right behind.
Right. Okay. That's where my land is. Right.
It's a good grab.
I know. Right. I'm right. So I reached out just to touch on you, Zaba, and what Rico was saying earlier. I reached out. I was in a YouTube, beg your pardon. I was in a WhatsApp group. Good brothers, educated brothers, intelligent brothers. I can't say one of these brothers in that group was stupid, because they wasn't. Very educated brothers. I got put onto this land by a woman that I was dating in Barbaro. She knew the developer because the developer built her house, and because she lives in El Hectivo. So where she bought her land and built her house, he done all of that. Fast forward. I was looking for land in Puerto Plata at the time. And, you know, I was kind of coming up short. You know, it was a bit far. Something just weren't right. Anyway, so she's hit me up. He goes, look, the guy that built her house that she brought land, he's doing a new development. Oh, okay. So when I went back there, like, okay, let's go and look. So she says to me, it worked out 180 square meters. He's going to now this is going back to what Troy was saying when he said, "Oh, you know, land was cheap then." No, land was also cheap 2 years ago because when she put me on 180 square meters, Troy knows where this land is. I paid £2,500, which works out to about $3,200, right? I was telling brothers, yo, jump on this, jump on this, jump on this. Brothers were ignoring me. I even hit a brother that at the time he was in Sasua, and he said, "Oh, I'm busy, hit me back." All right, no problem. I didn't say anything. Out of the whole group, 2 brothers brought land out of the whole group. Now all of a sudden that land now is worth lots of money. So it's showing, yeah, that brothers don't really give a damn about investing. They just want to come over, hit pum pum, and go about their business. They don't want to invest. Now, my whole going back to what me and Zab, what I was just saying at the end of the day, Zaba, is that there are brothers that are lost in a source. They're lost in a source. Because hold on, let me land. They are, no matter, we can twist it, we can turn it, we can talk about our grandkids. I've got grandkids, you know, I've got a family. Yes, we do this on a daily.
Land.
Let me land.
You ain't trying to land.
At the end of the day, I have a YouTube channel that gives information. So I have a responsibility. If a brother's coming in and he's looking the wrong direction, which many do, they email me. I've got to point them in the right direction because maybe that's not what they want. Maybe they don't want to lay down with a prostitute or have a prostitute as a future wife. Maybe they don't know.
All right, you ain't landing,
so I
bro.
have that responsibility, bro.
All right, you have overstated. You have overstated.
Yeah.
You got a responsibility.
Right.
Let me say this, man. When people look at your life, that's the best example. That's the best example. You live in a good life, you know, because you know, at your age, you just don't have the time. You know, we just don't have the time. You know what I'm saying? And so I think if you live a good life, you're good to people, you build and you level up, that's going to be the best lesson right there. Oh, Jay must have fell off.
But I do understand what he's saying.
I think Unc is on here, though. I brought Unc back up.
But Dr. Zaba, I do understand what he's saying. I do think that I definitely understand what you're saying as far as.
Sorry, Dr. Zaba, I cut out. I do apologize.
Well, go ahead.
Let me see if I can finish this. I see what you're saying, Dr. Zaba, that your lived experience is the best representation, but I also understand what Jay's saying because I do believe that, and I push that on all YouTubers, Troy, John, Jay, everybody. I'm like, if you guys got a channel, you have a responsibility to put out good, healthy, positive information. If you're not going to do that, get the fuck off YouTube. Right. So I understand what Jay is saying because, yes, if brothers is coming to him, he needs to be able to put out, look, this is the way you guys need to move.
Can I just say, can I
and I'm certainly, and I'm certainly not saying that.
Can I just say, I am saying
that though, if he gets to living in the country and them brothers calling him every week and this and that, he ain't gonna be able to keep up with it.
No, that could never happen. I can tell you that now.
No. What I'm telling you is they will. What I'm telling you is though, they will be calling you and they will say, "Come hang out with me."
No, they wouldn't.
That's true, Jay.
No,
if you got a YouTube channel,
I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying I'm an individual, Zaba. I'm very careful who I call friend.
Yeah, you're gonna have to limit people, and because you'll just be out there and people will be running you around. Is all I'm trying to say. But you know,
can I just say something?
I believe you know that.
No, I do know that. I do know that. Can I just say something? That Zaba, you have I've met your wife, very beautiful woman, charisma, you know, upstanding, real Dominican women. My point is there are brothers that are looking for a woman like yours, brothers that are looking for a woman like mine. they just don't know where to look, Dr. Zaba. They don't even know how to spot the difference.
Right.
I'm sure we've spoke about this.
And I think
Hold on,
the
let me land. You've had brothers meeting up, like, oh yeah, we'll go out for a bit, and they'll bring their missus, and their missus is covered in tattoos. She was like a little ghetto hood rat, and you're thinking,
I get it.
oh my
I get
God.
you. I see where you. I see where you live. I think the difference is, life is so short. I just don't have. You have the time to invest in those people, and this basically ends it. You have the time to invest in those people. I wish I did. I do not have the time to be worried. I don't have the time. Let me land, because I'm gonna be real within a minute. I do not. You obviously have the time to invest with those people, and people who want to be out there and they lost and all that, and I don't. That ends it right there. That ends it right there.
I respect that. I respect that.
Let me say one thing. Jay. I think this is the difference, Dr. Zaba, and this is the sweet spot. You're absolutely right, Dr. Zaba, because I'll be damned if I'm going to give up the remainder of my good years left fucking with a fool. However, if someone comes to me, you have to learn how to triage and be like, this nigga full of shit, throw him to the side. He's serious. And once you triage, that's what I think Jay is saying. He triage guys that's serious about. You just looking for some ass, going down there to pay Dirk Lasante.
Exactly.
Get you some ass. You looking for a real relationship, so you come sit down. So once you're reserving and prioritizing your time for the people that are serious, and that's what we gotta have a keen eye. Say
right. And I agree with that.
It's like if a brother comes up to me now, right, and he says to me, Big J, look, I'm sick of Pedro Salante, but you know, I want to be Magic Don Juan. I just want to just sleep with all the women without the price tag. I'd be like, okay, go and learn Spanish. That's it, and go and learn to talk to them. That's it. I ain't got no time. That is my time. Literally, go and learn Spanish and go and learn to talk to them. That's it. Because I've got no time.
Jay, I know you, and you know I love you like a brother. I know you ain't gonna be running around and spending all your time. I know that.
No.
I know. If I don't know that,
we need to bring Unky, man. We need to bring Unky, man.
Yeah.
I'm here, gentlemen.
It's just, I think, you know, we all know there are people who have YouTube channels and they try to cater to that clientele. And that clientele, man, will keep you busy, man. They'll keep you in the street. They'll keep you out there late at night.
Not me. Yeah.
I know you ain't gonna do
but
it.
let's bring in Unks though, because he's been waiting.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen. How's everyone tonight?
Hey.
I've been listening to everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me in. I know Jay personally. I met him through my nephew. I've been going to DR maybe about 9 years, 10 years, somewhere around there. But I knew about it for about 30 years through my brother. I agree with a lot of things that's being said. You can't abandon your own cultures to adopt someone else's. You got to bring it halfway. I'm not a believer that any relationship is free when it comes to dealing with women. There are no free relationships. Those ended when you left junior high school and high school.
Yeah.
And college. That was over. After college, there's no more freeness. You're going to be spending money on a woman. Now, where you want to spend that money at is up to you, because you make those decisions. I'm really not into policing brothers on what they do, because as the brother just stated, you cannot talk to a knucklehead and change his mind. You have to talk to like-minded people in order to get through a person. But your delivery means everything when you speak to a person. So how you speak to this person, how you deliver your message to them is whether or not they're going to gather what you're saying. You know, and you know, I just look at things a little differently. I can't have a relationship in the Dominican Republic because I don't live there.
Smart man.
You know, so my travels are, you know, I meet people. There are people I keep as friends. There's people that I've met in the streets of Sosua that I keep as friends, but I'm not sending any money. You know, those are decisions that a person has to make, but I can't tell someone what their comfort zone is as far as dealing with a woman, because I don't know what they're going through mentally here or there. You can only tell a person, yo, listen, man, you shouldn't do that because they're taking advantage of you. But even a person being taken advantage of knows they're being taken advantage of. They're just participating.
Willingly.
Willingly.
I stopped that because I knew a couple brothers that were in some questionable relationships, man. And I'm not going to waste my breath trying to tell you about it. What I'm also not going to do is I'm not going to sit there like I told my one. I'm not going to sit there and watch you take the heroin. You can be on heroin, but I'm not going to sit there and watch you shoot up. So I don't want to participate in it. You know what I'm saying? Another thing a brother told me was like, yo, man, I got it. That was the conversation. He was like, yo, I got it to give. So
Here's my number one rule. This always be my number one rule, Troy. Don't feed cows steak.
nah.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
They know. I mean, and like you said, you got to be able to receive the information. Like Unc said, like you got to meet like in social work and in therapy, you got to meet the person where they're at, right? So if they're not ready to receive the information, you got to meet them where they're at. So you don't waste your time giving them the blueprint if they can't read.
Can I ask you gentlemen a question though now? Because here's part of it too. I think about sometimes because we always look at things from a first world perspective because that's where we come from. We come from the U.S., England, whatever, and I think we always overlook the dynamic between first world and third world, and we think we're going into it with this altruistic attitude and behavior. Oh, I'm saving them, but I wonder sometimes, like, do the guys think to themselves that, look, you're taking advantage of a power dynamic where you have all the power socioeconomically. This woman got her only leverage is ass.
Right.
I agree with you, but I disagree with you.
Right. So I'm not saying I'm just saying.
No. Your point is extremely valid.
Okay.
This is where I differ with you. Big J had a show a while ago called Pretty Liars, right?
Yep.
Since
Beautiful,
I've been there,
honest
I've always told guys that these women in that country have a psychology degree without going to school. They can read you, know what you're missing, and play into it with no problem. And that's and I told Big J a long time ago that guys are getting off the plane and they're checking their checklist and their baggage back in the US. They're not taking it with them.
Yeah.
You're supposed to vet the people you deal with, not just the women, the men, the stores, the restaurants. You have to vet these places.
Well, let me ask you a question along that line.
Yes, sir.
I want to stay in that same space. But do you think that when we come in this country, the poor country, because first of all, ain't nobody going to a country that costs more. We go where the shit is cheaper, right? So we going to the poor country. So we go in there with this false sense of superiority or this false sense of bravado because I got the bread, I'm the shit. So sometimes the mouse put his ass in the trap. The trap don't have but sometimes the mouse will come to the fucking trap. So I agree with you. The women, no, they had that psychology degree. And I asked myself this, I'm like, damn, who's the weakest men that's going to these women? I'm almost embarrassed to say it's black men.
It's men. It's men.
No, but I'm saying in particular, we know it's men.
Right.
But I know it's plenty of white boys that get fucked over too. But I'm like, the streets is littered with black men, super saiyan, simp, whatever the fuck words y'all want to use for them, where I would guarantee you when they're in Western Union, I wish I could figure out the ratio breakdown of who's sending the most amount of fucking money. This dudes that's just simping on an unbelievable level, but you go there thinking you have the power and you give it away for a pretty face and a doctor modified ass.
You know what I'm gonna say?
It's not how they're born.
You know what I'm gonna say to that, Mr. Rico? You know what I'm gonna say to that?
Yes, sir.
It's not that you're giving it away. It's that if you left where you leave from with a swag to you and you're used to good-looking women, you don't have that problem.
Not at all.
There we go.
Not
But
at all.
most of these guys that's coming are not that. That's the problem. That's a very small percentage of the people that's getting off the plane. The overwhelming.
But look, man,
is
again,
not.
but again, would 4 Jewish men be talking about women? And
But
I'll
hold
say
on,
this.
I wanted to ask Dr. Zaba a question. Sorry.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I mean, like,
No, I wanted to ask you a question on it would be on the realms. Continue, but I just
okay,
wanted to ask you a question.
let me finish.
How
this.
do we reach? No, I wanted to just ask you something real quickly.
You
and
reach
it's
the
on
people
realms
that are
of where you're
trying to
going.
work on air conditioners. This is what I'm trying to say. I want to reach brothers that want to repair air conditioners. I want to reach brothers that want to
going there.
learn stocks. I want to reach brothers that want to understand electricity. I want to reach brothers that are building. I want to reach brothers that are leveling up. Those are the most important.
Just quick question.
Let me
Hold on, please, just quick question. Just quick question. How do we reach out to them, Dr. Zaba? How do we reach out to them? That was the question. It's on the realms of what you're saying.
I'll say this.
How we reach out to them.
I'll say this. I'm a roller skater, man. I've been rolling roller skates forever, and I can do some amazing tricks on roller skating. And so because I roller skate, I have to go to roller skating rinks. I have to go where those people hang out to find people who roller skate. See, the reason why Jewish, you can't find 4 Jewish men talking about women, because that ain't where they're hanging out. And you're going to find them talking about business, banking, things of that nature. So I want to reach brothers who want to learn electricity. I want to reach, I just called the guy here to work at my home. I had to pay him, what was it? $2,600 for 30 minutes. This is where our mind should be. So we need to reach some young brothers who want. We need to reach those young brothers. We need to reach those young. Let me finish, man. We need to reach those young brothers whose mind is on business. I think that is so much more important when guys talk about women.
I agree.
That's a level.
I just want to ask one question to the guys on the panel.
Let me finish. That is a level. I'm just not there. Because I'm inspired. Like I went to a real estate investment group yesterday. I'm in those spheres. I'm not in these spheres where men want to talk about women.
Yeah, listen.
Question.
Everybody take 10 seconds real quick. Everybody give me 10 seconds.
Sorry.
We can't talk over each other, and we also can't go on a tangent. So that's
okay. I apologize.
All right. Well, let me finish my tangent. Let me land.
May I just ask one question?
I only want to be in groups whereby men are talking about leveling up their family, investments, business, fixing things. I am not going to be in groups whereby men want to use the word women and talk about women. I mean, and like I said to you, this is why you can't find 4 Jewish men talking about women. And I'll land.
All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask one quick question of every guy on the panel. On your hands right now, do you have 5 people that think like you?
No.
Yes.
Not 5.
I do.
Not 5. So if you had 5, you would be rich right now. You know that, right? 5 people that think like you on your level, not talking to you, Doc, because you already said you got 5, right? If you got 5 that think like you, that move like you, you're rich. You find 10, you're wealthy. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It could take you a lifetime to find 5 to 10 people that think like you.
Yeah.
Troy, man, drop the bomb, man. Troy, man, drop the bomb. This brother deserves a bomb, man.
Yeah.
And let me say this first and foremost.
He gave us some real thing in it.
Let me say this first and foremost. I love Dr. Zaba, and definitely I love you bringing the spirited conversation. I like it. I think all this is a good mishmash of thought.
Yeah,
definitely. I think it's great. I love it because again, this is the first panel I've been on for a long time listening to intelligent, smart, even though like we're getting there, we're pulling teeth and dragging, but again, it ain't about all the buffoonery and all the nonsense. And we're going to tap back on your book some more as well, because I think that we need throughout the stream, we want to remind people that he's got this book out there. You can pick it up, read about it. I believe in it. I know Jay believes in it. Troy gonna pick it up. And if you get some free time, you might want to pick up a copy as well.
No, I'll definitely grab a copy. The doc seems like he has a lot of interesting things to share. And hey, I'm all about learning. So whatever I can learn, I can learn. And I've told Jay that from every time I've been on any of his YouTube podcasts or anything. I'm into absorb. I'm gonna absorb what you're gonna take, and I'm gonna tell you what I think about what you say. I will say this one thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I will say this one thing. I don't think that anyone can pick a woman for any man. Because you can find someone that's nice, but they may not look the way the person wants to look. We are not visual. We're not men. Men are not. They are not intellectual when they meet a woman. They are visual. If the woman is not visually attractive to you, you are not going to get intellectual with her. So that's where a lot of guys are losing their minds at. They're seeing these women, bodies done, not done, pretty, all those things, and they're not used to it. So they can't get in depth with these women while they're there. And then they try to absorb their culture and don't understand how to absorb it. You got to understand, there's guys here in America. I hang out with a lot of Dominican guys. I ride bikes with them. I ride bikes with Jamaican guys, Colombian guys, Cuban guys. The bike community is a very big community with motorcycles.
But can I be clear about
Rico? Let him finish, Rico.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And these guys will tell you that sometimes the woman that you're picking, that you think is all into you, has a whole nother relationship going on without you knowing. But I've known that my whole life because I have a lot of sisters and I've watched things that my sisters have done. So you have to take your education with you when you land in these places. You know the old saying, a big butt and a smile?
Can't trust it.
You can't trust it. I mean, that's all I want to say. I mean, I think all you brothers are smart. I don't think you can police the guys on YouTube to get them to follow your lead. They have to learn to follow that lead themselves, and that's through trial and error. You can't wait for them to catch up. You can't wait for them to catch up because you guys are ahead of them with things. So you have to grab onto the people that's interested in what you're giving. And then when those stragglers come along, then maybe you can pull them in. Right. But just remember, it only takes one rotten apple to destroy anything.
There you go. Enrico, before you go, I just wanted, because he just reminded me of something. It was an older brother that he must have saw something in me that pulled me to the side. And in the States we call it, he laced my shoes. And he laced my shoes for me. He was like, listen, I'm gonna go back to this point. He said, if I could do anything differently, this is what I would have did. When you hear an older person start talking like that, shut up, put your ears up and just listen. Agree. He basically gave me the play on where I'm at right now. As you can see, I'm not working. I'm retired. I retired before 50. And I'm down here living my life. And he put me in position. He's like, listen, invest in this, invest in that, do this, do that, find this, because this is what I would have done differently before I came down here. Now I was surrounded by, like I said, we was down here for a bachelor party, so we was down here partying, but he must have just saw something in me that he pulled me to the side, and he didn't have to do that. So I say that to say this. I know you guys saying you guys ain't got a lot of time left and you don't have time to do that. And I wish you would rethink that, because you got to everybody on this panel has something to offer and something to give to somebody. And we're at one point, I don't know about you guys, but I can say at one point in my life, I was ignorant to a lot of stuff. But it was a lot of older guys that saw something in me like, hey, listen, let me tell you this, let me tell you. That's all aspects of my life, whether it was education, whether it was the military, whether it was the streets. Somebody threw a rope over the fence to pull me up. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, because I want to be that 65-year-old guy, 70-year-old guy on the Molly Cone or at the beach that's like, hey, young, but let me talk. I see you out here doing your thing with your, like you said, like somebody said, it's how you say it, it's how you present it. and he presented it to me in a way that I can digest it. And I'm gonna be that guy that's gonna see the young brothers out there partying, doing dumb stuff. I'm gonna pull the one that I think that's gonna be able to receive the information. I'm saying, listen, bro, this is what you want to do. Because if I was you, this is what I would do. So and then go ahead, Rico. I know you got a point to get to. And then we're gonna...
Sorry, Rico, no disrespect, because Troy just touched on something really bad. That's the same thing Dr. Zaba done with me. Dr. Zaba took me to that rubbish restaurant in Santiago. I don't know if you can hear me, Dr. Zaba.
Got his ass.
I got him, right? Dr. Zaba done. Hold on, no. You don't know. Hold on. He done the same, because one thing about Dr. Zaba, I'm gonna say, Dr. Zaba's one serious brother. He just doesn't meet up with anybody. He's not, no, he doesn't meet up with anybody. So I know he saw something in me. He sat across the table and he told me a few home truths. He said, brother, do not hang out with certain people. Remove yourself from that. You are going on the right path. Continue what you are doing. I see you. Am I lying, Dr. Zaba? Can't hear you.
You muted, Doc.
You're muted, Doc.
You're muted.
Doc,
muted.
You're muted. Doc, you're muted.
I said we had a romantic dinner, and I don't mean that in a homosexual way. It really was. It was bromantic.
Yeah. Hey, but can I ask you guys a question? Because Unc said something that, and this is where I won't lose my train of thought. He said something that just struck a nerve in me, not a nerve, but just made me think, like a light went off about the culture thing. And maybe this is why I get so hung up on the culture thing, because I look at, like, I would say to myself, like, I don't think in America gun culture is a positive thing. We have a gun culture in America. I'm not talking about having a right to it. I just think we all know that the streets is flooded with fucking guns and all the carnage that goes on because of it. I don't think that our LGBT culture, what I'm getting at is, when Unc was saying about the culture, what's funny about it is I hear expats saying always about to embrace the culture of a country, but at the same time, you don't even know what the fucking culture is of that country. So you're going to embrace the country of the DR and you don't even fully know what it is. And even if you did, you should know that all of any culture, no culture is 100% good. It has fucked up shit and good shit, the same as the culture. Like, you know, Big J, in the UK, there's some positive about it, there's some negative. So why would I come to the UK and adopt all of your culture? Because I don't want to adopt the fucked up parts. I don't want to adopt that. I want to be very careful about what parts of the culture, if any, I choose to immerse myself in, because every culture has positives and negatives. So, but people are just, they just say this thing. Oh, you got to become part of the culture. I'm like, no. Stop saying that shit. You don't even know what the fuck it is. And then you're adopting the negative parts of it. So I think, like I said, I never talk about anywhere, to include America, being paradise. To me, dirt is dirt. Land is land everywhere on the fucking planet. It's dirt. Shit grows in it. We eat food from it. Waters, I mean, it just is. Some places are nicer than others, but I don't think anywhere is special. There's no magical land on this planet.
And I think you touched on a very important point, which goes over a lot of brothers' heads. I always used to say to brothers, okay, learn your Spanish is important, but overstand this culture. Overstand the culture. It's going to get you further than the goddamn language.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Overstand the culture.
Right. But don't adopt it. That my thing is, like, I want to understand it. I don't want to adopt it unless it comports with my values, with what I believe in. Because if I don't believe in it, I'm not adopting that shit.
Can I tell a little story just to strengthen what Rico's saying? So in my living room, you know, my country of origin is Jamaica. So in my living room in Dominican Republic, you know, I've got a love heart carved out of wood with the Jamaican flag in the background. Also got my country carved out of wood. You know, when you come into my house, you'll see Jamaican memorabilia. I'm proud of where I'm from. So my missus is two aunts came to visit her. And I think I told this story. I think I told you the story, Rico. I think I
you
told
told
you the
me.
story.
You told me.
Yeah, so just, right. So you know, the two aunts came into the house, you know, and they came to visit her. I wasn't there. So one of the aunts turns around and says to my missus, "Oh, Jamaica. Oh, what flag? Oh, Jamaican flag. Oh, Jamaica. Why? Where's the Dominican flag?" And my missus turned around and said, "Look, this is not my house. This is my husband's house. I'm a guest in his house. He's Jamaican. We're in Dominican Republic. Why do I need to put a flag up? We're in Dominican Republic."
That's what I said. I'm like, you're in the fucking country.
But I think an issue you guys might be talking about. There's a term called ecstasyism, and what it is, and I did talk about this in the book. It's like you'll find Cubans like Cuba. They ain't trying to go back. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll find Africans, or you'll find even Dominicans be like Dominican. They are more patriotic. They are more people. Many people are like this. Even when I was in Africa, people are. How can I say this? You love your country sometimes more when you're out of it than in it, and it's just kind of like Dominicans are like that. They really love their country when they're out of that mug. and I understand it, because if you really want to know how American you are, go live in some of these countries for a number of years. And I'm not talking, you go to Africa and see how African American you are. And so, you know, I think that you know, I mean, Cubans got it bad. You know what I'm saying? They love Cuba, but they ain't trying to live there. So, you know, I can kind of understand that whole deal. You know, how people are very patriotic.
I say, if I threw open the door to the DR and said free passage to America, 95% of the fucking country would empty.
Gonna be consult Jamaicans as well. Jamaicans as well.
So I was like, what are y'all
So may I ask you about? Hey, Rico, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You know what I noticed my first time to DR? Let me tell you what I noticed. These people were bathing out of blue barrels and everything like that. But you know what? They were happier than the people in the United States.
I had a fix.
You have a great point. You have a great point.
I'm gonna fix both of y'all. But this is the word I got on John about.
I don't think that's true for most of them, though. But that's a great point.
No. What I mean by that is that they have come to terms with what they can't have, and to deal with what they have.
But here's
I know. But I think that's true. But in general, just like Mr. Rico said, they'd rather leave. I think by far most. Now there's those exceptions. There's exceptions. And me and Rico talked about this the other day. You know, what is happiness? You know, I talked to him about a little man living in Peru that might be happier than somebody living in Chicago. I mean, we talked about all of that. But go ahead, Rico. I'm sorry.
This is my point where, and I get, because I really got on Coach John about it. I said, stop using the word happy. He said, but Rico, they happy. I said, no, don't use the word happy, because it's a misapplication of the word. Okay. Happy is joy. What they are is they are content in their
survivors.
Right. So you can be basically, I could be eating fucking beans and rice every day and never complain about it because I'm being filled.
Somebody in prison happy.
I don't want to keep eating fucking beans and rice. So I'm not
But
happy.
no, no, I agree.
Caribbean
I agree.
people
So
make
the
the
problem is,
Caribbean people.
but here's
I,
the-
I,
one thing.
I totally agree with you, Rico. Happy
And the
might be a
problem
stretch.
is when
Content is a better word.
right, and when we say they're happy, what we're doing is we're dismissing their reality. Because for the most of the time, this is what poor people become acclimated to. They be like, well, they don't complain. They don't complain because they know most people don't care. So what's the purpose of complaining? If you're poor and you're struggling and you're eating beans and rice every day and you know people don't care, why waste energy complaining about it? You just don't. But you're not.
Let me ask you a question, Troy.
Overjoyed.
Can I just make a quick statement? Caribbean people are known to make a bad situation good.
Yeah, but
they've got no choice.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, what you would want is to not be in the conditions you're in. You would want to be in better conditions, but you don't expect nobody gonna fall out the fucking sky and lift you up to that better place. So you learn to become content where you are.
I mean, is a person who's never been out of prison and he just like, it's cool here. He's probably happy because that's all he knows. That's all he knows. He might not even want to be out because that's all he knows. But you know, there's some guy in Peru somewhere that's fishing and he's just living in a hut and he's happy. And me and you talked about this the other day. You know, what are the variables that would make people happy? And people have talked about this, and I can tell you some of them. If a person has good relationships with other people, that's a variable to happiness. I don't think I've ever seen a person that doesn't have good relationships with other people that isn't happy. So relationships are important in terms of what happiness is. I believe. And not only that.
What question did you have, Unc?
A degree. Another
I
one.
wanted to ask Troy if he's abreast with everything that's going on in New York with everybody coming into New York with all the immigration.
Oh, you're talking about with all the immigration and the people are sick of it?
Because I just want to point out something, and this goes to culture, happiness, and things like that. And I'm just going to speak for what I see what I've seen in the Bronx and what I've seen on the internet. They're doing the Dominicans that came here. The Dominicans that are here don't even want the Dominicans that are coming here. They want them to go back home because they're bringing everything that they do in DR here right now. And they're making it very difficult for the Dominicans that are here that they don't even feel are Dominican. They call them part Dominicans.
Right.
Wow.
You know, and
same thing in Jamaica. Same thing in Jamaica.
I say that to say that, you know, that's why I use the term happy, because if you're not happy with your situation, how do you bring that situation with you somewhere else?
Right. Right. I
do believe that some people who may be unhappy in the desert will be happy in the city. You know, I don't think it's stagnant all the time. It's layered is what I'm trying to say. I think that, if you put me in prison for something that I didn't do, I'd be unhappy in prison. But you could take me to Sumter, South Carolina, give me a little job, I would be happy. So it's so many variables. I truly believe, I was kind of trying to give you guys some that kind of is universally accepted as happiness. And one thing that I did say was, people having good relationships with other people. I think that's one. You just can't find people. Then there's another variable to happiness, having reasonable health. Then there's another variable to happiness. And all of these things are universal and universally accepted, more probably you guys in the group. Another thing is being able to eat and have housing. So there are some universal things that people usually don't disagree with that are contributors to happiness. And I probably have maybe 5 or 6 in my head right now.
I agree with every variable that you came up with, but to reach a peak of happiness, it's going to take some combination or multiple of those. No singular thing
No.
It's going to breed
And happiness happiness isn't stagnant. Happiness goes up and down. You know what I'm saying?
It would be home security, food security, job security equals happiness. Just home.
Let me tell you something.
No food. I'm not fucking happy.
I gotta make you laugh.
No,
I gotta make you laugh.
After when Dr. Zaba makes everybody laugh,
let me tell a quick joke.
It better be funny.
Yeah, I hate work. I always hated work. So
exactly.
Don't come at me with and when I was working, now I understand work is necessary. And even to this day, I try to make the money work for me, but I hate work.
Me too. Right, so jobs.
I love money. I don't love work.
Can I ask Dr. Zaba a question? So, you know, Dr. Zaba, going back on, you know, investments and, you know, look and building with brothers and so forth. You know, at the end of the day, look, every brother, you know, he's not on, you know, 6-figure salary a year, you know. You know, there are brothers that, you know, are earning 20,000, 30,000 a year, you know. Right. My point is this, you know, I've done things like linked up with brothers and said to brothers, you know what, we're not on no big wages, but let's just do a consortium. You know, let's put $2,000 together. Each man put $2,000 together, buy a piece of land. That didn't even work. My whole point, Dr. Zaba, I've tried this. I've tried looking brothers. You know, I mean, okay, on my channel, yes, do I talk about women and how to find a wife and how to avoid the pitfalls? Yes, I do. Is that what my channel is going to be dedicated to? Yes, it is. At the same time, I have tried out the box to link brothers. You know, you put $2,000 in, it's just not worked to the point that. And I think. Let me land. Because you can answer to the point that I've even sat down with Unks and said, you know what, Unks, I'm tired of this shit because I know that Unks is on the same level. Like, you know what, Jay, go and look for some land. We'll just do it together. Fuck the rest of them. Because at the end of the day, when you do bring this to brothers, all of a sudden, crickets. Crickets. But I'm tired of it.
But Jay, and then you shouldn't be talking about it. You should just be about it. Do it because I agree with you.
Oh, I've done it. Let me
finish.
But I'm not.
I get your point. You're just saying. You're just simply saying it's difficult for Black people to work together. Okay.
Yes.
You know, I get it. Your point is well taken.
Yeah.
Well taken.
Yeah.
And there are reasons for that. We don't have the social, economic, historical background with working with one another. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. You can see other groups doing it and we have difficulty doing that. And I think I can tell you this in my life because me and some brothers had a property in Punta Cana and we sold it at the when the COVID came through, and we were doing okay. We were working together as brothers, but getting brothers together even to talk about to talk about leveling up is difficult because they'll come out of their mouth with women. We don't need to do that. We really, I don't. And I ain't going to be around brothers, women, something about women in relationships. And we're really not even good at that when you look at the history of us. And so I would say this, you know, just like I think, you know, do your thing, invest your thing, and you will run into some other brothers that are doing okay and that kind of thing. Because to work with brothers, it is not easy. We do not have that history. We do not have that. And this is why you will look at panels, and I said this 10 times, you will look at panels and guys be talking about women. It really doesn't help us because when we are on our deathbed, we're not going to think about who we had sex with. We're not going to think about how many women we were with or where we quote unquote traveled. The only thing that's going to be important on our deathbed is the good relationship that we have established. And hopefully we have established enough relationship with family, grandchildren, children, hopefully.
Right.
None of that other stuff is important. These are women the guys keep wanting to talk about. And the women here, the women there, dating. You hear guys talk about dating women, they're really not talking about money.
I understand what
They're
you're saying.
really not talking about leveling up. And I'm going to tell you, past brothers hate me to say to them, stop saying the W word, which is women, and stop saying the D word, which is dating. Shut up, because we know you are not leveling up. As long as you're dating, money is going one way.
Right.
You cannot say to me, most men who are dating, which is really a terrible word for me.
No, we get it.
Let me finish. Most men who are dating, they can't tell you $100 that have come their way. Money just goes out. You got to understand the language. The language is when black men are talking about dating, when black men are talking about women, they are talking about money going one way. And most guys who are talking about traveling, they are talking about money coming one way. They are not talking about money coming into their lap.
Okay, Doc, we had enough Colombian coffee.
Okay.
Hey, I had Dominican water.
Let me hear from you. Fellas, we're gonna wrap it up. We got 2 minutes.
Hey, Troy. Hey, Troy. Can I tell you guys something about during the Canelo fight? I met some guys that actually were going to DR way longer than me, 20 years, right?
Right.
They ran a story past me that everything that we've talked about has been going on 20 years ago.
Yep.
And Guy talked about how he had a girl from the streets that he was messing with. He brought one of his boys down there, and come to find out his boy married the chick. Brought her back. They got a kid and everything in the States, still married and all that. So I say that to say you can't tell someone who completes them. That's not up to you. That's not your choice. What completes you don't complete another person.
Okay, I agree with that. I'm a big proponent of not penis policing, and I'm also like, what you like is what you like, man.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Go ahead, because we're gonna wrap it up. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just in conjunction with what Brother Zaba was saying, yourself, Rico, and Unc. There has been, and I've heard stories. There has been investment groups, that have started off well in Dominican Republic. Black brothers getting together, putting their heads together, minds together. And renting out villas and meeting up. And what always happens, and I speak to brothers in these so-called investment groups, they've come back and they've told me, you know what they've got there, and you know what the first thing to come out their mouth is, where's the ladies at? Where's the hoes at? Where's the hoes at? Oh, I thought we were getting entertainment. Where's the hoes? It's like, well, hold on a minute. I've come here to make.
How did I know that? How did I know that? Go ahead, Rico, because we're gonna wrap it up. Go ahead, Rico.
Look, guys, this is the last 10 minutes. We're gonna let Unc give your closing thought. Hey, look, let me say this first and foremost. This has been a great look. We're gonna get tapped in with Troy, brother Troy. First of all, let me say thank you to our special guest, Dr. Zaba. We're gonna let him close out last. So hold on with your Colombian coffee. We're gonna come to you. We're gonna get your solo at the end. Right. But look, we're trying to help Troy get his channel going. We're trying to make this a space just like Big J. Who, if you're not subscribed to Big J, what is Big J in the
Escape?
Big J's Escape to the Dominican Republic.
Right.
I'm subscribed to it, so I don't have to remember this shit. Subscribe to it. Jay, drop your link in the channel, because as we start to grow the channel, we want to sit there and we want the message to go out to more like-minded channel, to give Dr. Zaba a whole lot of places he can go and talk about his book that's not mongering, because we're not into that. I don't have a problem with brothers that monger. I just don't think you need to put the shit on the internet. And like Troy said, I'm not going to watch you shoot heroin. Shoot it all the fuck you want, but I'm not going to watch you do it. I'm not going to participate, and I'm not going to support and enable it. So again, I really appreciate you, Unc. Big J, you my brother, I love you.
Yeah, Jay's in the hood. Jay lives out here with us, man. So it's not too many brothers out here. People hate Brothers
So,
hate.
so the beauty of it is we want to keep pushing this channel and channels like this with this information. Troy's coming more out of his box, and we're trying to line up a lot of really good stuff. It's not in the mongering vein where we're going to get out. I'll be back then in the country next month. Me and Troy, we're going to go start hitting some places and showing you guys some content, some videos of different things that people don't even. I'm like, it's right in our backyard. It's a lot of beautiful shit.
It's a whole nother part of the island over here. You know what I mean?
I hate Barbaro. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I had to say it. I hate.
You didn't have
Barbaro.
to say it. You wanted to say it.
I did. I hate Barbaro. It's too synthetic for me. Too much grey people. No, I live in England, right? I live amongst grey people. I don't want to move to a place where there's no. I'm good. I'm good. But Barbaro is good for investment. So for those who want to invest, it's brilliant for it.
And you know, you got to stay with the channel because we need that perspective, because that's a valid perspective. That's a perspective me and Troy hear all the time.
All the
From
time.
people who say how
listen, he's not the only person.
It's too not my cup of tea.
But you got to realize though, Jay, that perspective for a lot of people that's like trying to dip their toe in the water. And they don't want to give up everything that they knew.
It works, yeah. I understand.
This is the place for it. Because you take your ass up north, it's like, fuck a grocery store, fuck.
Nah, Port Platter would be too much. It would be too much. It will be.
And then that would turn some people off to it because they're really not ready to go off the grid like they think they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, you come to Punta Cana, that'll ease you into the country.
That's true.
It'll be close to what you're still used to.
Facts.
And then when you want to adventure more out, then you can.
Facts.
And that's all I'm saying. It's good, and it's definitely good for an old motherfucker like me. You know,
I can't believe Troy lives in Electivo, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
Because my thing is, I tell everybody, my black ass ain't giving up air conditioning. We're like, no air.
No, Rico, you have to give that shit up, man. That shit, no.
Not my little dainty ass.
But you know the joke is, yeah, everybody keeps on. You know what's funny, right? Everybody keeps on saying, "Oh, Sosua, this is serious." But I find Barbaro and Punta Cana sleazy. That place is sleazy.
It can be.
Troy, you know that long road from Electivo, going all the way up to Farusa.
Yeah. That's our shit. That's our shit, Farusa.
Yeah, but you know what? I will say this. I tell people, because a lot of people complain. I said, listen, we turn into Sosua, but we turn into Sosua from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. After
that's true. That's
right
true.
back.
That's true.
But
well, that's not impact. Well, okay. When you come out of Electivo, you know that side little road that goes all the way to Farusa?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll say no more about that little road.
That road.
Stay well off that road.
We know it well.
Don't go down. Listen, I wasn't even talking about. I'm talking about like if you go down to like
Drink Point.
You'll get what you're looking for. It's 2 blocks. We got 2 blocks worth of what's up north, but up north, it's 24/7. Here, 10.
But not in Puerto Plata though. Puerto Plata is calm and tranquilo.
The beautiful thing about Punta Cana is it takes a sewer and it puts it in a bubble, which is a beautiful thing because it's like you keep it in the bubble.
True.
And it's 10 times better than what's in Sosua.
I agree.
What's in that bubble. When you
agree.
When you look at that bubble, you be like, damn.
The caliber. Yeah, I agree.
And it's only from 10 o'clock at night.
And they keep it in a bubble. They make their bread. And then I tell anybody, I'm like, look, after being in Sosua, you can't pay me. I mean, after being in Punta Cana, you can't pay me.
You know it.
Well, no, all I'm saying is, for what I've seen in Sosua,
but I find it too expensive. I find Barbaro over the price.
Very expensive.
Expensive.
It's unnecessarily priced, man.
But what I'm saying is, if your money's right if money's not an object, which would you prefer?
The only thing I liked about Barbara, I'm gonna keep it real. When I went to Farusa and you had the cockfight impors there, I used to go there, and there's a Chinese spot that done some real good pico pollo there. Real good. It's on the corner.
Anywhere,
real good pico pollo.
Okay, Envy, Xfinity.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, have you been? You haven't been lately.
Xfinity.
I seen.
I've been there.
I seen
So
James Harden.
is Envy like the baddest?
No, Ambi's terrible.
Okay, well,
no, Ambi's dead. Ambi's dead.
Whatever is the best in Sosua, Xfinity, Exotica.
They got no
Movie Club.
infinity in the Sioux.
Listen,
None.
I seen
Yeah.
James Harden in Xfinity. I seen Little Baby in Xfinity coming out.
Y'all
I
seen them up in
6ix9ine.
Sosua?
I seen
Damn.
Video Foreign
Yeah.
coming out of Xfinity.
Oh, we can
Xfinity
we can pull up the video of James Harden coming out of Xfinity.
Yeah, like he walked right past me.
We can pull up the video. He stopped
Damn.
taking photos.
Yeah.
Hold
And
on a
nobody
minute.
knew who he was. Nobody
Hold
knew
on.
who he
James
was.
Hardy.
The basketball
excuse
player.
my
The
ignorance.
Y'all do know that's not a plus, right? You know
Hold
that's
on.
not a plus, right?
James
You
Hardy.
know that seeing James Harden and them down there is it's not a plus because
Right,
if you're
James
talking about
Harden-
dudes driving up the cost of anything, these guys are the pookies. They're the real pookies.
Is he
They-
that
they-
basketballer with a big beard?
Well, what I'm
Listen.
saying, right? So by
35 million
Pookie
last
standards,
year.
we
he
got the
made.
better Pookies.
There is no better pookie. Those pookies bring the same dudes along with them that you don't want to see,
No.
and
No.
they are going to throw up hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Want me to
Yeah.
tell you why?
Yeah.
Want me to, and here's the biggest difference is I'll say this with Punta Cana. It's not even so much for what they're coming to buy. I agree with that.
Right.
What they whine about is the overall cost when you come down there. So you
Oh, yeah,
gotta come
'cause
down there and you gotta stay
yeah.
for a week. I'm like, bruh,
It's expensive, man.
yeah, $500 up north. That's just not gonna cut down there.
No way. No way.
It's
Forget
just
it.
Good luck.
Even the electricity's high down there.
Yeah,
Even
good
the
luck.
electricity's
Private
high
company.
down there.
Private company, good luck.
It's a private company.
Just
Yeah.
good luck. It's just like you can try it. Oh, they fucked you coming and going. When I was looking for my house, me and my wife stayed for 5 days, like $1,500. That was the accommodations. That wasn't us going out. That was no food, no drinks, no nothing.
Damn.
That was for somewhere for us to sleep.
Crazy.
So it was like, the fuck? I don't know. You know, that was Los Corrales, El Cortecito. It's just like,
That's why.
Yeah,
I
Los
bought
Corrales
here. I
Beach.
bought here
Oh.
because I'm looking for people that want to come and drop that for a
Yeah.
week or two.
they asking for it. And
That
now
Los
it's-
Corrales Beach, what a shite hole. You think
Right.
all the expensive hotels there and the beach is shite.
Yeah.
It's green, it's full of sea moss. Oh no. I'd rather go Macau.
But
Macau
you know,
Beach,
Macau's the
nice.
shit, right.
Yeah.
But they
Esmeralda
asked
Beach is
for
even
it,
nicer.
And all I'll
Yeah,
say
I
is
ain't
this,
been there.
Oh,
But
you
here's the
gotta
thing.
go.
But Jay, here's the thing.
Man.
They ask for it and they get it. And here's the thing about it is, and everybody can sit and talk. I say, y'all can talk all the shit y'all want. But the DR up until probably today has gotten a little less than 8 million people.
Wow.
No, this is this year. More than probably Colombia and Brazil combined has flown into the Dominican Republic. Almost 8 million motherfuckers. You want to know where 75% of them flew into? Punta Cana.
I need
Oh yeah,
parts.
of
I need
course.
parts
Yeah.
of that.
75 to 80% of every motherfucking passenger
Yeah.
comes into
And-
Punta Cana. They're
And
not
Jay,
going to Santo Domingo. They're not going to Santiago. They're not going to the
The
North
guy in
Pole.
Punta Cana.
They're going to
Yeah.
Punta Cana.
yo, Jay, Dame said that Macau is overrated too.
Oh, he's always saying that shit.
Macau's nice.
Macau
Macau's
is
nice.
Macau
You gotta-
is
you
nice.
You gotta
Macau is
catch.
sweet.
you
And
gotta
that's a
catch
Look, there's
the fish.
3 people in the panel saying that Macau's
Macau
nice.
is
It's
sweet.
two different parts. You know, it's two
My
parts.
wife
You got the
don't
part
like
down
it.
there by Dreams.
Right.
Yes.
They okay, but when you come to the part where like all the buggies go at
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and get some fish down there, oh, it's
Ooh.
McAllister.
I know. I know what you're talking. I know. Yeah, he's right. I done a
And
vlog
listen, I'm
of
gonna
that.
give you another pro tip. If you like
He ain't
fresh
lying.
fish and you're gonna cook it at your house, you got to go 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Go all the way to the end of Macau. The Haitians are coming right off the boat with the fish, and you can get it so cheap and take it to your house. And
Oh, I do that. You know what? You're giving away too much game.
I am giving away too much.
You know what, Troy?
I
Me
am.
and wifey, right? Me and wifey. I swear to God, me and wifey, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we wake up in the morning like 4:30 and we walk to the Malacon to catch the fishermen, or we go in the evening like 5:30. You got the spare fishermen just walking up with fish, and we just buy it for cheap. Yeah,
cheap, man.
Yeah.
Macau is very nice. Sometimes we go up to Baibe.
I got to get both of you
Aravana.
guys to Esmeralda, man. Esmeralda beaches.
Oh my God!
I'm sure
And you know
I've
what?
been there.
No vendors.
Beaches.
No vendors. No vendors.
Nothing.
All beach. You might see a couple of horses riding down the beach.
Ah,
Yeah.
And on the low, I'm gonna give you some more pro tips. If you're looking for land, you want to get close to the water, untouched.
Beaches.
Get up Michis and around the Esmeralda area. You
no,
can-
Michis is beautiful. Michis is beautiful.
People don't even know. People don't even know about it.
That's the new.
Michis is beautiful.
That's the new development spot that they're working their way
Yep.
toward. They got a little town up there too. There's a
Oh,
whole
they're
town.
building up Michis, yeah?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
if you get in there early, I'm telling you,
10 years from now, you're gonna be able to sell that for like millions.
they got
What,
they got,
Michis?
I'm gonna say they got a new seat.
so how much? Okay, we're gonna talk. We're gonna
We're
talk.
gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
This is nice.
We're gonna
As
talk.
soon as you said millions, I was like, okay, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
We're gonna talk. Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna definitely talk.
But
Are they still
y'all
building
know
that
that's not a secret
airport?
though, right? Because you know
Huh?
Mocha Fest is hitting all those spots.
Oh, really?
Mocha Fest is hitting all those spots.
Right.
Okay, they got a couple of big resorts up in Michis that done opened up recently.
Yeah. Mocha Fest is going everywhere. Greece, Italy, they're everywhere. They're
I'm gonna tell you,
everywhere.
they got a believe it or not, I bullshit you not. I saw it on Bridget. They got an adult resort halfway up to Michis. No kids, clothing optional.
Oh shit!
You know
Like
what I'm saying? They
hedonism
got
in
like some
Jamaica.
hedonism shit.
Okay.
They're building going up towards Michis on a resort.
Mm.
So what about the airport? Are they still building that airport?
They're gonna build another. Yeah, they are. They
Because I heard they were building the airport in
They are.
Barbara
It's
or
called
something.
AIB. Something AIB, like something Barbaro.
Well,
One of the
this-
guys
this-
from the Punta Cana group broke off,
Yeah.
and he said he's going to build his own airport. If that happens,
Well-
man, you know the area in Barbaro, the property value just goes up.
And
Oh,
you
it's
know
gonna go
most
up,
of
yeah.
those airports
Well, I'm
are
gonna tell you,
private.
brother, something real quick, just so you understand. Sosua will not be the same in the next 5 to 10 years
Nah, I don't
with the
think so.
amount of money
No.
that they're dropping into it. With the money they're dropping into
Look,
Sosua right now, it will not be the same.
Let me hold on. Okay, Sosua is absolutely going to change. There's two things going to happen with Sosua because I've been watching the trend, and Troy, no, I be feeding him this shit, and I'm gonna start feeding it to Jay. Okay, there's two things going on with Sosua. One, Sosua is about to be gentrified like a motherfucker,
Yes, sir.
which is a good thing because when them white folks come, they bring in money, they building resort. Now these niggas that didn't take advantage of the opportunity, you missed the boat. You niggas just fucked around, tricked off and whored off for 20 and 30 years, and you blew the opportunity to have invested,
Some
and now
did.
it's just gonna be too late.
Oh, you see they cut the beach off already, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what they did one. So I said they're gonna take the waterfront, and that's how they do. They build waterfront back. They don't
Yeah.
build back to waterfront. They go
That's
waterfront
right.
back. That's high end. They do that shit here in the States.
Right.
Whether they did
That's
in the
right.
DC, they go waterfront back because waterfront is prime property.
It is.
Always, everywhere around the motherfucking globe. So they're going to
Insane.
gentrify Sosua, and Sosua, all the areas going to be pretty
But you know
soon,
what?
it'll be
It's-
like you brothers won't even be flying there no more.
It's like when but you know it's like the inner city before, where they moved everybody out of the all the white, all the people, what do you call them, gray people.
Yep.
They went out into the suburbs, and then we got our money, and what do? We want to go by them. So now
Right.
they going back into the inner city. So as we all know, the history of Sosua, it was settled by Jewish people. So,
Yep.
you know, they left. All the brothers came in, started coming in. It was popping, and now they're coming back.
No, but here's the sweet spot, Troy. This is how you know. This is what they do before that. Gentrification works this way: you depress the property value, so you drive them down.
There you go.
What's the depression of the property values in Sosua right now? But I mean, I sent you that article where they said that they're going to start closing over the summer because so few flights are coming. So the brothers that's coming, you niggas ain't enough to keep Sosua open. You think you are.
I disagree with that.
No.
It's a lot of money getting poured in from brothers.
You might disagree with it, but they're saying, because here's the
they're
thing.
saying we don't want your money.
No, what they're saying is this.
Oh, they said that.
But this is what I think we look at. We look at, say, oh, all these brothers going, but we don't see the white people that are there too.
Right.
They're
there.
also part of what's keeping that economy up.
Yeah.
So the white people have went away, and I'm saying the black people alone is not enough to keep the economy afloat.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying black
there.
dollars. What I'm saying is black dollars by itself is not enough to keep the economy afloat.
Nah. But
and
you know what?
Absent the residual white dollars, it depresses property. Now they're going to come in, they're going to buy them, because gentrification is we buy cheap, we sell high. We buy low, we sell high. We buy low, we refurbish, we take these rundown properties, we build these $1 million fucking condos, and that's what we sell these motherfuckers for. That's what they want, and they literally are saying. So the hotels have said if they get another year of the low numbers, the blacks are still coming. But what you're going to start seeing, you're going to start seeing fewer and fewer white people on the plane. They're spending money too. And
I mean, when the last time you went down there, Rico? When the last time you walked through there?
I haven't been.
Okay. The last time I went through there, you guys know where Envy is, right?
Yeah.
You know where Envy's at, right? Okay, so you know Envy going towards the beach. You know how you had all the abandoned properties and the damaged properties and all those things? That ain't there no more. That ain't there no more, bro. Ain't none of those properties open no more. All those properties are being rebuilt right now, and they're probably done.
Yeah, I told
they're probably done.
Is once they gentrify,
Louis Abinadar is not playing.
Huh? So what I'm saying is, once they've
Louis Abinadar, he's not playing.
Yeah, when I saw the president there, that's when I knew it was going to get real.
But when the president come, you think the president come because of a motherfucker that look like you or me?
He comes from the hotel world.
No, but I'm saying you think he's there because somebody that look like you or me. He's there because of somebody that look like him. That said, I'm willing to put X amount. Because here's the thing with the government. The government says, okay, we put $3 for every $10 you put. Private-public partnership. So he already said, oh, we're going to invest 10 billion pesos. That means there's someone else with private money that's going to invest 30 billion pesos.
They dropped 50 million US into Sosua.
That'll be a Spaniard. Because you know, like all in Punta Cana, if you're not aware, most of those resorts in Punta Cana are owned by Spanish billionaires. Billionaires with a B.
Yep.
And up in matter of fact, they just did some luxury condos up in Puerto Plata, a Polish group from Poland. Most of this money is foreign investment money. Money that's coming from outside the country. Billionaires.
But this is what I'm gonna say, Jay. When it comes to me and you've had this discussion when it comes to finding dudes to invest and do things. It's not that you can't find people to do it. The problem with us as minority men, because I'm not gonna say African American, because I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I ain't never been to Africa. I'm gonna go, but I ain't never been there. And I don't go by something that someone created to empower themselves. You know what I'm saying? For votes.
I got you.
The problem you have with guys and getting guys together to do things is that mentally we are built on a struggle of, well, who's going to sit at the head of the table? No one can be second. And whenever you run, and that's the problem. It's not that you can't find dudes with the money. The problem is that dudes never want anyone to take the lead. They don't want the lead, but they don't want nobody to take the lead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I can't, like, and this is just hypothetical. I can't say, well, Troy's going to take the lead. He's gonna run everything. Jay's going to take the lead. Rico's going to take the lead. Somewhere down the line, somebody's going to be like, well, why they got to take the lead? Why it can't be me? It don't need to be you. Nothing's going to get done without you knowing. You're going to know what's going on step by step. The idea is to move forward. Is to put yourself in a position to make money, to own property, to be able to get on a plane and say, hey, I ain't got to rent no place to stay because I got somewhere to stay.
There you go. Simple as that. That was my mindset. My first 2 days here, I was like, yo, I got to get some property. I called the number on my WhatsApp. I talked to the dude that was selling. I saw the Say Bende sign. He's like, yo, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It was like a 5-bedroom villa. He was like, give me 150 for it. I was like, what? I was like, I can walk to the beach from here and you want $150,000? That's it?
Wow.
I was like, oh man, I need in. But then what's going on up there? I'm like, I can't live up here because then I was like, I can't bring my daughter around here. I can't bring my mom around here. So I was like, okay, where can I go? I want to be here, but I need to get as far away from here as possible. So I did my research. I saw, like Rico said, I did the numbers. I saw what was the most visited place in the Caribbean. What's the biggest return on my investment? It's going to be here in Barbara. And I know Jay said he can't stand it here, but I mean it's cool. But when I go on vacation, and I'm prior military, so there's a lot of VA stuff.
Sure. When you get your ass back to the island, come see me and Troy. You're gonna be like, oh, I can do it, right? You know what I'm saying, right?
I'll tell you what it is about Barbara.
No.
There's nothing to do there. It's boring.
I don't care about what you think about Barbara. Come down there and kick it with me and Troy. Look, if you need a place to stay, Troy, you gotta show him the video of your beautiful one. He got his own.
It's on the channel. I just uploaded a new video.
He built and he's got his own 1-bedroom fucking apartment unit built in front of his villa. It'll blow your fucking mind away.
Wow.
This is so this is not even a brother who owned property. He built income producing property in front of his property.
Oh man, I'm glad we have this conversation.
So when we talk about the mindset, watch what this guy did, and you're gonna be like, okay, why the fuck aren't any of you guys thinking like this?
I'm gonna share this with y'all. Hold on real quick.
You not.
It's important. Let me share this with y'all real quick.
But I gotta bring tap out because Hefe on her way. And you know how that little short motherfucker is. Jake, Troy know my wife. He knows she don't play.
Why? Hey, listen. This is a conversation between me and the contractor that just did my roof. I just had my contractor put some AstroTurf on the roof of the apartment. Great job too. I might need his number, Troy. French Canadian guy.
I got some ideas.
We just been talking business. He just got he's got some lots for sale. And let me read this to you straight from him. Lots for sale right behind Bayonne and Frusa. He's talking about building apartments, and he was talking to me, and he said, I'm thinking about buying 2 of 180 meters side by side and build something 3 stories. Anything over 250 square meters, you can build 3 levels. And he said, small apartments like the one that you built, they can rent it 10,000 pesos a month, Frusa. So with 24 apartments, that's 240,000 pesos a month coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me, he said, and I did the math on the land. I'm talking like $6,000
for the land,
for the lots, per lot.
Yeah,
it's big enough to build. It's big enough to build apartments on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's possible. Yeah, lying. That's the Dominican price he's getting it at.
Yeah.
No lies told there.
Yeah.
And 240,000 pesos a month.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, let me finish up here, and then we can talk business. But he came over. Very professional. He saw I was about my business. He was like, "Yo, I just want to shoot this at you." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's so many opportunities out here, man. Like shit like that just falls in my lap daily. Like I keep hearing about opportunities.
Troy,
like
I'm gonna tap out. I gotta go.
Okay, yeah, fellas.
Yo, gentlemen, I really appreciate it. Rico,
I appreciate
Troy,
it, man.
Jay, I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? You invite me to your panel. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Hey,
I will definitely follow you guys on YouTube.
Listen up. This is we're trying to make this a Saturday thing.
Right.
A weekly thing, whether we jump over with Big J, because I'm trying to sit there and help both of these brothers push their channels again. Because again, we need to create a community of like, we can't just be about, oh, ain't nobody doing it. God damn it, we gotta fucking do it.
We'll do it.
That's true.
We gotta fucking do it.
Well, gentlemen, I'm not a YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? I'll definitely come to. I'll definitely come to your channels.
I'm over here cheerleading these guys and all this shit. So help me help them, and we get Zaba over there to kick it with us too.
You know what I tell these guys, Rico? You know what you got to tell them?
What's that?
Leave the petty beefs alone.
Yep.
Right.
Leave the petty beefs where they are. You do not outnumber the Dominican people. You need all the allies you can get. You don't outnumber them.
Right.
All right, gotta go.
All right,
Rico,
gentlemen.
He's gone. Rico ran off. I was just gonna ask Rico one question, but he's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Right.
He's gone. No, but it's been an absolute pleasure, man, and a great build. Honestly, it's what YouTube needs, you know, good builds with black men coming together, having constructive conversations and moving forward.
I mean, I'm for the ratchet shit though. Like I said, that's my guilty pleasure, man. That shit cracks me the fuck up. I'm entertained. It never ceases to amaze me, the shit I be hearing these dudes doing. I'll be like, what the what?
I've seen it all, believe me, I've seen it all. But you know what the crazy thing is? The crazy thing is, you see, like I said, the crazy thing is, you do see these crazy guys in. It's funny, because Porter Platter's so calm, but yet you see the clowns walking around, and you're just looking at them thinking, brother, please, no.
My thing is, if you like it, I love it. So
yeah.
But you brothers be easy, man, and thank you guys for coming on the panel, man, and
blessings
out with the channel tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Blessings.
Thank you.
All right, fellas.
All right.
Everybody, we'll catch y'all next time, man. I appreciate everybody stopping in, staying this late. Jesus Christ, we've been on so long. But thank everybody for coming and checking out the channel. Thank everybody in the chat. Positive energy, man, and that's what we're gonna do. And we'll see you next time, man. Please, go through, check my other videos out. I'm about to put some more stuff up. About the apartment build. Me buying a damn dog. I'm gonna show more drone footage of the area because I'm also a drone pilot. I love flying my drone around. So that's my dog tripping right now. So, like I said, everybody, I thank you for coming in. Peace, one love, and I'll see y'all next time.